Chapter 3771. Dragon Slaying Cave, Devil's Land. Under the dark moonlight, one couldn't even see one's fingers in front of one's face. However, in this eerie and terrifying region, there was a figure holding a long sword as he fought with a zombie. Crack! The crisscrossing sword light was filled with the fragrance of wine. This was Sword Maniac honing his drunken sword technique. His opponent was a zombie that had been dead for countless years. He could feel that the zombie was a big shot when he was alive. Although he had been dead for many years, his resentment had not been extinguished. "Since you're dead, let me destroy your last trace of resentment." As soon as he finished speaking, Sword Lunatic let out a low growl. The long sword in his hand spun violently and instantly smashed the head of the zombie that was attacking him. Boom! When the zombie's head was smashed, its entire body collapsed. The bones that fell to the ground were instantly corroded by the cold aura and disappeared in the long river of time. Buzz! Sword Maniac raised his hand and the wine gourd flew into the air. Sweet wine spilled out and dripped into Sword Maniac's mouth. Gulp! His throat kept moving and after a long time, he stopped drinking in satisfaction. At this moment, the long sword in his hand was filled with the fragrance of wine. At the same time, he could feel the long sword trembling and letting out a loud sword cry. "Is this the real drunken sword technique?" Swordsman Lunatic mumbled to himself as his eyes glowed with a shocking radiance. It had been 3 years. To him, these 3 years were worse than death. However, the culprit behind all this was Fang Chen. "I won't let you go." A crazed look surfaced in Sword Maniac's eyes. In the beginning, he was severely injured and escaped to Devil's Land. He was almost killed by the zombies here. Now, he had dominated a region and no zombies dared to step into it. Once they stepped into it, they would be like the zombie that had just disappeared. Huff! Sword Maniac took a deep breath and tried to calm the anger in his heart. "When I completely conquer Devil's Land, it will be your time of death." Sword Maniac believed that once he conquered Devil's Land and commanded all the zombies, he would be able to dominate Dragon Slaying Cave and kill Fang Chen. Wang. However, at this moment, a blazing light suddenly shot up from the core of the Devil's Land, breaking the silence of the night sky. "What's that?" In an instant, all the zombies in the Devil's Land rushed toward the core area. As for Sword Lunatic, he naturally sensed the blazing light that soared into the sky. Wang. The humming of the sword became louder and louder. The power in his body seemed to be about to burst out. His eyes widened, and his heart was in turmoil. He almost subconsciously shouted a sentence. "The second half of the drunken sword technique?" All of a sudden, Sword Lunatic's eyes were filled with a crazed blazing light. Ever since he had mastered the first half of the drunken sword technique, he had been searching for the second half of the drunken sword technique. He had sensed a trace of the drunken sword inheritance's chi from the light that had soared into the sky. He was certain that the second half of the drunken sword technique had appeared. "Let's go." His figure flashed and disappeared into the darkness. Meanwhile, in the core area of the Devil's Land, there was a strange altar. Under the altar, many members of the demonic beast clan stood. The ancestor of the demonic beast clan clasped his hands together and worshipped the strange altar devoutly. Catcher. Behind him, the faces of the demonic beast clan members were filled with horror as they kept retreating. They would never have thought that the ancestor would sacrifice his own demonic beast clan members in order to obtain the ghost artifact. Crash. The body of a demonic beast clan member flew uncontrollably toward the altar and was instantly enveloped by the light that rushed out from the altar. Crash. Blood splattered all over the altar. Soon, the blood dried up and was absorbed by the altar. At the same time, the cracks on the altar became bigger and bigger. The blazing light soared into the sky, alarming the entire Devil's Land. The eyes of the patriarch of the demonic beast race burned with excitement. "The ghost artifact is mine," he shouted in his heart. Crash. Another demonic beast clan member sacrificed his life and blood to open the altar. Ancestor. Some of the demonic beast clan members collapsed to the ground, while others had tears in their eyes. "Is it worth it?" However, the ancestor of the demonic beast clan had long been blinded by hatred. He stared coldly at his demonic beast clan members and said in a cold voice, My descendants, I will remember your sacrifice. Your death will be exchanged for the eternal prosperity of my demonic beast clan. You are the heroes of my demonic beast clan. Soon, dozens of demonic beast clan members were sacrificed. The movement of the strange altar was getting louder and louder. The first batch of zombies had already arrived. They let out angry roars and fought with the demonic beast clan members. Stop them for me. No one can ruin my plan. The demonic beast clan fell into a state of madness. The turmoil in the Devil's Land did not affect Fang Chen's enlightenment. He dreamt back to the ancient times. In a dream of 100 years, he personally felt the power of the ancient divine beast vermilion bird and the mystery of the vermilion bird secret technique. At this moment, he felt that he had mastered the true vermilion bird secret technique. With a flick of his wrist, the core of the vermilion bird secret technique appeared in his palm, emitting a bright light. I see. He could not help but sigh. Fortunately, he had absorbed a thin trace of the vermilion bird bloodline in Huang Tian's body. This caused him to dream back to the ancient times and see the scene of the vermilion bird entering the endless darkness and stopping the chaos. He was quite emotional. At the same time, he was even more grateful that he was able to obtain the true vermilion bird secret technique. Whoosh! He took a deep breath and came back to his senses. The vermilion bird phantom had disappeared and the sky was dark again. He turned his head and found that the golden striped array seemed to have been affected by the aura of the vermilion bird phantom and had undergone a slight change. Hey! Fang Chen exclaimed softly and was shocked to discover that some of the operation trajectories of the golden striped array were clearly imprinted in his mind. He could not help but suspect that all of this was caused by the vermilion bird phantom. As expected of the ancient divine beast vermilion bird. Even if it was just a phantom, it could release such a vast pressure that it could change the operation trajectory of the golden striped array. Whoosh! He took a deep breath and a burning look appeared on his face. The golden striped array had changed its operation trajectory. In this way, wouldn't it be easy for him to break this array? Thinking of this, he quickly walked to the entrance of the passage that was blocked by the golden striped array. His dark eyes stared at the operation trajectory of the golden striped array. At the same time, the incantation of the vermilion bird secret technique in his body was activated again. Since the operation trajectory had changed because of the pressure of the vermilion bird phantom, then if he used the true vermilion bird secret technique and combined it with the vermilion bird bloodline, it should have an unexpected effect. Chapter 3772. Sword Maniac was the first to reach the center of the Devil's Land. He saw an endless wave of darkness, and upon closer inspection, there were countless rotting corpses. These rotting corpses carried an eerie and terrifying aura, which was extremely compatible with the aura of the Devil's Land. Sword Maniac's pupils shrank as he felt the strength of the rotting corpses. He could not help but take a step back, holding his long sword in front of his chest, ready for any sudden danger. Roar! The rotting corpses let out angry roars, but they ignored Sword Maniac as they charged past him. What's going on? Sword Maniac could feel the terrifying killing intent from the rotting corpses, but they ignored him even though he was standing there. He finally saw the source of the rotting corpses. Altar! There was an eerie altar there, and there was a figure sitting cross-legged on top of the altar. His hands were forming a complicated seal, and there was blood flowing out from his body, as if he was nourishing the altar. Sword Maniac immediately recognized the old ancestor of the beasts, who was using the blood of his clansmen as a sacrifice to the altar. I can feel the second half of the drunken sword art in the altar. Sword Maniac's eyes were burning with passion. The drunken sword art was extremely important to him. If he could obtain the second half, he would be able to touch the threshold of the Supreme Being realm. This was a rare opportunity, and he had to fight for it even if it was dangerous. Sword Maniac snorted, and he immediately gathered his thoughts. His body flashed, and he blended into the army of rotting corpses, trying to destroy the old ancestor's plan. However, at this moment, the old ancestor of the beasts had already given his all. His eyes were bloodshot, and he no longer had a way out. He could only fight with his life on the line. Stop them for me. The old ancestor of the beasts ordered with a ferocious expression. The remaining clansmen were using their lives to stop the rotting corpses. Get lost. The demonic beast clansmen revealed their true forms one after another and began to fight with the zombies. However, this was the Devil's Land, and they were no match for the rotting corpses. Soon, the beasts suffered heavy losses. Voila! The demonic beast patriarch flicked his wrist, and a suction force appeared, sucking one of the demonic beasts onto the altar. The demonic beast patriarch trembled, but he had no choice. For the race. The old ancestor of the demonic beasts said in a hoarse voice. If our race can rise again, we will definitely not forget the lives you have sacrificed. Fang Chen was completely unaware of the turmoil in the Devil's Land. He was immersed in deciphering the golden striped array formation. At this moment, the vermilion bird blood in his body resonated with the vermilion bird's phantom, and the vermilion bird's power gradually seeped into the golden striped array formation. Crack! There was a change in the operation of the golden stripes. One of the golden stripes was interrupted, causing the operation of the entire golden striped formation to slow down. Fang Chen stared intently at the golden striped array and quickly found a loophole. Break! He unleashed the vermilion bird secret technique to amplify the power of the vermilion bird and instantly reversed the trajectory of the golden striped spell formation. Reverse the universe. Fang Chen growled and pressed his hands on the golden stripes. Following that, a vast amount of power could be heard frantically crashing against the golden striped formation. After a while, with a boom, the golden striped formation shattered and the entrance of the cave appeared in front of him. There was no obstruction. Fang Chen couldn't care less. With a leap, he jumped into the hole. Buzz! In the pitch-black tunnel, Fang Chen quickly moved forward. He spread out his divine sense to prevent any accidents from happening. After some time, Fang Chen felt his eyes brighten. Following that, he felt a terrifying power that could topple mountains and overturn seas. Crack! The armor on the surface of his skin instantly appeared and blocked the terrifying power. What is this place? Fang Chen opened his eyes and found himself in a dark and gloomy place. Could it be? He thought of a legend. It's actually true. The Devil's Land only existed in legends. Ever since the powerhouses of the devouring demon race joined forces to transform the dragon-slaying cave, the Devil's Land had completely disappeared. He didn't expect that after so many years, he would accidentally enter the Devil's Land. There's a huge movement ahead. Fang Chen sensed that there was a huge movement in the center of the Devil's Land. It seemed that someone was fighting. He leaped up and floated in midair, looking up. Rotten corpses. Countless rotting corpses rushed towards the altar like walking corpses. Coincidentally, there was a familiar figure on the altar. Monster race. Fang Chen realized the seriousness of the situation. Sacrificing the lives and bloodlines of his people to the altar. What is he trying to do? Fang Chen thought quickly. At this moment, he saw a shocking sword light soaring into the sky from the army of zombies. His face instantly darkened. After comprehending the Tao for 3 years, he finally broke the golden striped formation in order to kill Sword Maniac. Now, he finally saw him again. Sword Maniac. Fang Chen gritted his teeth, his anger soaring to the sky. However, he was not in a hurry to chase after Sword Maniac. After all, the current situation was not optimistic. He wanted to understand what the monster race was trying to do. Why was Sword Maniac in the army of zombies? What were these zombies protecting? He saw the battle between the zombies and the monster race from afar. Catcher. Although the zombies had no intelligence, they were very loyal. Even if they died, they would protect the altar. Therefore, even if the zombies fell, there would be more zombies rushing up to fight with the monster race. Poochie. Soon, the monster race could not hold on any longer. At this moment, Sword Maniac took advantage of the fierce battle between the zombies and the monster race to rush to the altar. Buzz. Dazzling sword light bloomed like fireworks and instantly slashed toward the monster race's ancestor. Boom. 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 The monster race's ancestor turned around and blocked the sword light with his bare hands. It's you. The monster race's ancestor's face darkened. You want to stop me? There's something I want here. Sword Maniac said coldly. If it was any other time, the monster race's ancestor would have already taken action. However, it was different now. The Devil's Land was too strange and the zombie army was endless. If he could not stop them, all his previous efforts would be in vain. So, he wanted to join forces with Sword Maniac. You can see the current situation. The zombie army is endless. If they rush over, we won't get anything. The monster race's ancestor said. Since you and I have something in the altar, why don't we put aside our differences and join forces to fight the enemy? Chapter 3773. The Nether King used his last bit of strength to help Fang Chen cultivate the undefeatable Nether King body. This could be considered his final effort for the Chaos Realm. The words that came into Fang Chen's ears were sad and touched his heart. Could it be that all the Almighties had died in the hands of the demon-devouring race? How could such a terrifying race be born in this world? Such a race was too heaven-defying and had gone against the heavenly Tao. Heaven and earth could not tolerate it. Fang Chen felt that the road ahead was too long. Senior Nether King, have a safe journey. His eyes were unusually firm as he bowed to the dark void. The Nether King had completely disappeared, but he had helped Fang Chen immensely. Is this the undefeatable Nether King body? Fang Chen checked his body carefully and realized that his current physique had undergone an earth-shattering change compared to the Chaos Sword body back then. What surprised him the most was, the Nether King had helped him cultivate the undefeatable Nether King body and the Chaos Sword body. The uniqueness of both remained. More importantly, the Nether King had been trapped here for countless years and had continuously studied the characteristics of the demon-devouring race and merged them into his undefeatable Nether King body. This way, Fang Chen had inherited the undefeatable Nether King body and the aura that he emitted was exactly the same as the demon-devouring race. Phew! Fang Chen heaved a sigh of relief as a smile appeared on his face. This way, he would not be doubted when he walked out of the Devil's Pool. After all, Xiao Yarrow who had made an exception and allowed him to cultivate in the Devil's Pool in order to activate the demon-devouring bloodline. Crack! Without the support of the Nether King, the void became chaotic and Fang Chen's body rose uncontrollably. Soon, he broke through the dark void and returned to the Devil's Pool. Buzz, as soon as he returned to the Devil's Pool, the undefeatable Nether King body released a strong suction force and crazily absorbed the demon-devouring power in the Devil's Pool. Rumble, the calm Devil's Pool began to shake. Xiao Yarrow who had just come out of seclusion and sensed the Devil's Pool's movements. With a thought, he appeared above the Devil's Pool. Looking over, he suddenly realized that there was something wrong. Inside the Devil's Pool, there was a terrifying whirlpool. Inside the whirlpool, there was a vague figure. Have you activated your bloodline? A look of joy appeared on Xiao Yarrow's face. Looking at the situation, the bloodline that Lin Chen had activated was definitely not weak. Perhaps, after countless years, the Carefree Palace would once again have a genius that could be sent to the 4 major branches. Xiao Yarrow who was very excited and had been waiting patiently. Moon Palace, in a hidden secret realm. After Elder Yun sensed the movement of the Devil's Pool, a cold smile appeared on his face. Deng deng deng, the Lunar Palace's Palace Master came to visit. Old Yun, what's going on? He was somewhat worried that there would be a problem with the Devil Pool. Old Yun waved his hand and gestured for him to sit down. Then, he took out a go board. The Lunar Palace's Palace Master was distracted, unable to focus. For the Devil's Pool to have such turbulence, it means that the guy called Lin Chen has been completely dissolved by the Devil's Pool. Old Yun said with a smile. According to his conjecture, the Devil's Pool was absorbing the remaining energy in Lin Chen's body. When the two collided, the repulsion was too great, causing the Devil's Pool to shake. That means Lin Chen is completely dead. The Moon Palace Master's eyes lit up. His goal was to kill Lin Chen. Only then would the Moon Palace be able to suppress the military palace. He's just a sage emperor. How can he escape from me? Old Yun was extremely confident. His finger lightly touched the go board. When the black go piece landed on the board, the situation instantly changed. I've won. Old Yun chuckled. Old Yun's go skills are superb. This junior admires you, the Moon Palace Master said respectfully. You're just too impatient, said Old Yun. The Moon Palace Master smiled awkwardly. The main thing is that the Marquis has already come out of seclusion. He's waiting outside the Devil's Pool. I'm afraid that something unexpected might happen. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, Fang Chen had already been in the Devil's Pool for 3 years. During this time, the Devil's Pool had never stopped shaking. The more he waited, the more excited Xiao Yarou became. As for the Moon Palace's side, they were somewhat unable to hold themselves back. What's going on? Why hasn't the Devil's Pool calmed down after 3 years? The Moon Palace Master couldn't hold herself back and wanted to investigate. On this day, he arrived below the Devil's Pool and looked up. Xiao Yarou, who sat cross-legged in the air with his eyes closed. Rumble, at this moment. The Devil's Pool let out an unprecedented shaking sound. Then, the whirlpool in the Devil's Pool suddenly shattered. The Devil's Pool crazily spun, forming a huge wave that soared into the sky. The Moon Palace Master was stunned. The liquid in the Devil's Pool carried an extremely strong power as it soared into the sky. He instantly felt the world around him being suppressed. Xiao Yarou, who opened his eyes. Is it over? He muttered to himself. He could vaguely see a figure standing proudly at the peak of the wave. Crack. Fine cracks began to appear in the surrounding array formation. Boom. After the huge wave soared into the sky, it suddenly exploded. Raindrops filled the sky, sweeping over. Amidst the raindrops, a figure swooped down. Dong. Dust flew up, and the raindrops fell. Fang Chen stood proudly at the peak of the Devil's Pool. That is, the Moon Palace Master, who had just stabilized himself with great difficulty, looked like he had seen a ghost when he saw Fang Chen. He forcefully rubbed his eyes and looked again. Impossible. He cried out involuntarily. Old Yun had personally made a move. How could he survive? However, he soon realized that he had lost his composure. He looked up and saw that Xiao Yarou, who was ignoring him. He suppressed the shock in his heart and quickly ran back to the Moon Palace's secret realm. At the peak of the Devil's Pool. When everything calmed down, Xiao Yarou, who sized up Fang Chen and grinned. Not bad. You have activated the superior demon-devouring bloodline. From now on, your future is limitless. Superior bloodlines were very rare even in the Xiao Yarou prefecture. Xiao Yarou, who felt that it was a wise decision to make an exception and let the military palace commander enter the Devil's Pool to cultivate. Fang Chen's body was shrouded in a black aura. Whoosh, he secretly heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Xiao Yarou, who could not recognize the invincible Hell King physique. If that was the case, he was much more relieved. Thank you, Lord Marquis, for your guidance. He cupped his fists and thanked Xiao Yarou. However, I have something to report to you. What is it? Xiao Yarou, who was very happy, and asked with a smile. After I entered the Devil's Pool to cultivate, someone secretly tampered with it and tried to kill me. Fang Chen told Xiao Yarou everything that had happened back then. After the latter heard it, he was furious. Crack. The void was directly shattered by Xiao Yarou's kick. His face was cold and full of anger. Someone actually dared to do such a thing in my Xiao Yarou prefecture. He promised Fang Chen, go back and rest. I will personally investigate this matter and give you an explanation. Xiao Yarou's eyes were cold as he looked into the distance. He thought of the Moon Palace Master who came to the foot of the mountain not long ago. Chapter 3774. The aura of death soared into the sky, engulfing the entire Devil's Land. This was the purest aura of death. Ordinary martial artists would definitely die if they came into contact with it. Even Saint Realm experts would be injured if they came into contact with this terrifying aura. Buzz. The entire zombie army on the wasteland fell silent at this moment. They prostrated themselves on the ground, their skeletal faces filled with reverence and devotion. Their mouths were muttering complicated words as their bodies trembled slightly. The Ghost Emperor isn't dead. Fang Chen's expression turned completely solemn. He took a deep breath and forcefully suppressed the shock in his heart. His pitch-black eyes stared unwaveringly at the cracked altar. There! The aura of death filled the air and soared into the sky. Moreover, An illusory head was gradually condensing. The Ghost Emperor. Finally, Fang Chen saw the illusory face clearly. The legendary Ghost Emperor was a peak existence that suppressed an era. He was even more ancient than Supreme Fujian. In the current age of chaos, there were very few legends about the Ghost Emperor. However, no matter what, as long as the name of the Ghost Emperor was mentioned, everyone would change their expression. Buzz. The eerie and terrifying aura of death seemed to want to refine the entire Devil's Land. There was a trace of icy killing intent on his huge face. The moment he opened his eyes, the corpse army prostrating on the ground stood up and loudly shouted the Ghost Emperor's name. My people. The Ghost Emperor opened his mouth and his aura shook the sky. Sword Lunatic and the ancestor of the monster race, who were closest to him, were instantly blown away. You have protected me for countless years. Now, I have finally recovered. Every word of the Ghost Emperor contained an extremely cold killing intent. It made people tremble from the depths of their origin spirit. So cold. Even though they were far away, Fang Chen could still feel the cold. His body trembled and he quickly regained his consciousness. Buzz. The perfect bloodline flowed and a trace of cool aura shrouded Fang Chen's origin spirit to defend against the cold. At the same time, the vermilion bird bloodline in Fang Chen's body gradually stirred. The surrounding temperature gradually became hot. Soon, Fang Chen's body was enveloped in flames. The vermilion bird bloodline. Fang Chen clenched his fists and cried out in his heart. As expected of the vermilion bird bloodline. It was so strong that it could resist the Ghost Emperor's aura of death. Who used a bloodline sacrifice to awaken me? A huge face hung in the air. The Ghost Emperor's eyes were like sharp swords, piercing through everyone's hearts. The old ancestor of the monster race crawled up from the ground. He didn't even have time to tidy up his tattered clothes. His body trembled as he said, Senior Ghost Emperor, I used the lives and blood of my race to break the altar and awaken you. Hearing this, the Ghost Emperor's frightening eyes landed on the demonic Beast Clan's ancestor. He even thought that if the Ghost Emperor wanted to kill him, he only needed a thought. At this moment, Sword Lunatic was also a little afraid. He didn't expect the Ghost Emperor to really be in the Devil's Land. He only wanted to find the second half of the Drunken Sword technique, but he didn't expect to lure out the legendary Ghost Emperor. A moment later, the Ghost Emperor looked away and nodded in satisfaction. At the same time, he saw the true body of the monster race's ancestor. The monster race's ancestor heaved a sigh of relief. The Ghost Emperor knew his ancestor. At least he could guarantee that the Ghost Emperor wouldn't attack him. Since you are the descendant of Tiger Soul and have awakened me, I will bestow you an opportunity. While speaking, the huge face opened its mouth and spat out a cold air. The demonic beast patriarch was a bit stunned. Cold air rushed over and he subconsciously reached out to catch it. Looking down, he saw that it was a command medallion. My ghost artifact was lost at the Death Cliff. With this token, you can go to the Death Cliff and find my ghost artifact. The Ghost Emperor said, if you can successfully bring back this Lord's ghost artifact, then you will receive this Lord's legacy and will be able to control this Lord's zombie army. Thank you, Senior Ghost Emperor. The monster race's ancestor was extremely excited. He cupped his fists and thanked. Senior. At this moment, Sword Lunatic also spoke. Junior is also willing to share Senior Ghost Emperor's worries. I am willing to assist the monster race's ancestor to find the ghost artifact together. Oh! The Ghost Emperor's eyes turned. He opened his mouth and spat out another cold air. Sword Lunatic took the token and was overjoyed. What do you want? Junior cultivates the Drunken Sword inheritance. Now, I lack the second volume of the Drunken Sword technique. Before he could finish his words, a terrifying aura condensed into a yellowed book under the broken altar and flew to his side. He opened his palm and the yellowed book landed. On the cover, there were 5 bold and powerful words, Drunken Sword Technique second volume. Drunken Sword Technique. Sword Lunatic held the yellowed book tightly and was extremely excited. Thank you, Senior Ghost Emperor. Junior will not let Senior down. Far away. Fang Chen looked around. He was a little puzzled. Could it be that it's just an illusion? If the Ghost Emperor really revived, he would never let anyone find his ghost artifact. One had to know that the Ghost Emperor was famous for being ruthless. At this moment, Fang Chen discovered that the Ghost Emperor spat out two faintly discernible auras from his mouth and instantly drilled into the heads of the monster race's ancestor and sword lunatic. In the next moment, the two became muddle-headed, like walking corpses. "Greetings, Master." The two cupped their fists together, full of reverence for the Ghost Emperor. "This is being controlled?" Fang Chen was shocked. To be able to control the two of them so easily, wasn't this method too heaven-defying? Whoosh! At this moment, Fang Chen discovered that the Ghost Emperor's cold gaze pierced through the void. "Let's go." Almost without any hesitation, he directly fled into the distance. He did not want to be controlled by the Ghost Emperor and become a walking corpse. Human race. A complicated expression appeared on the Ghost Emperor's huge face. Soon after, he coldly said, "You two, go and capture that guy. Remember, I want him alive." "Yes, Master." The monster race's ancestor and sword lunatic glanced at the place where Fang Chen escaped and quickly chased after him. "Children." After they left, the Ghost Emperor looked at the zombie army and said, "Continue to guard the Devil's Land. Kill any trespassers without mercy." After he finished speaking, his enormous face gradually disappeared. Buzz. The Devil's Land returned to peace, but there was an additional Ghost Emperor statue on the shattered altar. If there was an Almighty here, they would know that the Ghost Emperor was not truly revived, but only a wisp of remnant consciousness. Back then, during the chaos, his physical body was shattered and his origin spirit was severed. Only a wisp of remnant consciousness escaped here to sleep, leaving behind a glimmer of life. Chapter 3775. Romance Chinese Network. Even someone as strong as the ancestor of the Monster Beast clan and the Sword Lunatic were instantly controlled by the Ghost Emperor. One could imagine how strong the Ghost Emperor was at his peak. The Ghost Emperor was a super expert before Supreme Fu Jian. Whoosh, whoosh. Fang Chen tried to escape from the Devil's Land as fast as he could. The power in his body was greatly suppressed here, and he had to activate his perfect bloodline to resist the eerie death aura. Behind him, the ancestor of the monster race and the sword maniac were like walking corpses as they chased after him with endless power. "You can't escape." Sword Lunatic leaped up and slashed out with the long sword in his hand. In an instant, a dark sword light formed between heaven and earth. It carried an unparalleled sword Dao aura and dove down, heading straight for Fang Chen. Vermilion Bird Secret Technique. Fang Chen secretly activated the Vermilion Bird Secret Technique. Suddenly, scorching flames surrounded his body, blocking the giant sword that was swooping down. At the same time, he tore open the void and stepped into it to escape. "Humph, trying to escape." The ancestor of the monster race roared with dim eyes. He pushed his power to the extreme, and his aura was much stronger than the sword maniac's. Fang Chen did not want to continue fighting. After all, this was the Devil's Land, the Ghost Emperor's territory. Once the death aura invaded him, he would be severely injured or even killed. Therefore, he wanted to escape from the Devil's Land as soon as possible. However, at this moment, he found the dark passage that he came from. Without any hesitation, he jumped into the passage. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After a while, Fang Chen came to the end of the passage and jumped out. At this moment, one could vaguely see the aura of the golden stripes scattered at the entrance of the passageway. Fang Chen's eyes turned and he waved his hand. Immediately, a vast aura of array filled the air. He used the incomplete golden stripes to reveal this place. Whoosh. After doing all this, he leaped and left the cave under the waterfall, escaping without a trace. Boom. Soon after, Fang Chen could hear deafening noises and furious roars coming from the cave under the waterfall. It was obvious that the progenitor of the beasts and sword maniac were trapped in the tunnel, unable to break the formation in a short period of time. Whoosh. Fang Chen arrived at a mountain peak. He let out a sigh of relief and looked into the distance. Although the invincible saints can break the formation I set up, it will take a lot of energy. Fang Chen muttered to himself. Unless one was an expert in formations, It would take at least 7 days for an invincible saint to break through the formation with his strength. The current dragon-slaying cave had completely changed. The demonic beast tribe had been annihilated and only the ancestor was left. As for the geniuses of the demon-devouring tribe who had come from the outside world, such as Huang Tian and Yarrow Yun, they had all perished. Only Jian Fengzi was left. The only thing missing from the mission given to him by the great demon was the sword lunatic. But now, sword lunatic and the ancestor of the demonic beast tribe were controlled by the ghost emperor and could not be separated. In other words, if he wanted to kill sword lunatic, he had to be prepared to withstand the joint attack of the two invincible saints. Moreover, the two of them had the support of the ghost emperor. Especially sword lunatic, who had obtained the second volume of the drunken sword technique. Once he mastered the first and second volumes, even Fang Chen would not dare to say that he would win. So, time waits for no man. He had to make a decision within 7 days. Let's go. After thinking for a moment, Fang Chen leaped into the void. Soon, he once again arrived at the place where the demonic beast tribe used to live. He came to the ancient mansion. At this time, the ancient mansion was no longer the same as before. Countless buildings had turned into ruins. He saw the ruins of the Kingdom of Blood and other ruins. Finally, with a thought, he felt his vision turn dark and he came underground. The great demon was shrouded in black mist. Even though Fang Chen's primordial spirit had reached the nascent soul realm, he could not see through it. Crash! When Fang Chen arrived, the great demon suddenly raised his head, and the sound of the chains shook one's heart. The great demon's gong-sized eyes stared at Fang Chen, causing the latter to feel his scalp go numb. Have you finished the task I gave you? The great demon's eerie and terrifying voice shook in Fang Chen's mind. Ah! Caught off guard, Fang Chen felt pain spread to his head, and his primordial spirit almost exploded. After a long time, he stabilized and said to the great demon, "Senior, I encountered a little difficulty." Immediately, Fang Chen told the great demon about what he had seen in the Devil's Land. After hearing the two words Ghost Emperor, the latter was silent for a long time, and then said, "The Ghost Emperor is already dead, and the Devil's Land is just a wisp of his remnant will. He wants to truly resurrect." Ridiculous. The great demon sneered, as if he didn't want to see the Ghost Emperor resurrect. Although you didn't complete the task I gave you before, I won't hold you responsible. But now, I have a more important task for you. The great demon said in a deep voice, the Ghost Emperor's ghost artifact was left at the Cliff of Death, and he controlled 2 saints to retrieve it. What you have to do is to go to the Cliff of Death and stop them from retrieving it. Fang Chen was stunned. Go to the Cliff of Death and stop them from retrieving the ghost artifact. If you can successfully stop them, I will give you an opportunity. The great demon said, let me remind you first, this opportunity is related to Supreme Fu Jian, and is also closely related to the crisis of your chaotic realm. Hearing this, Fang Chen's heart trembled. Was it related to Supreme Fu Jian? What kind of opportunity was it? At the same time, the way he looked at the great demon became more complicated. He had heard the disciple of Tiger Lord say to be careful of the great demon. But why didn't the great demon kill him, but instead gave him an opportunity? Could it be that all this was to use him to help him get out of trouble? For a time, Fang Chen's heart was in a mess. Buzz! A heavy force pressed on Fang Chen's body, immediately waking him up. Okay. Fang Chen calmed himself down and immediately agreed. What a joke. That was the great demon. Once he was angry, he would definitely die. Clang. A token fell at Fang Chen's feet. Take this token and you will be able to find the Cliff of Death, but I have to remind you that the Cliff of Death is very dangerous. It is the origin of the Chaos Realm, and the environment there is very bad. It repels the 5 elements greatly. If you want to survive there, you have to comprehend at least 4 elements. At the same time, the great demon also told Fang Chen that there were countless corpses of the Chaos Realm in the Cliff of Death, and if he was careless, he would die. Finally, he sent Fang Chen out of the ancient mansion. Whoosh! There was a flash of white light, and Fang Chen stabilized himself. Just as he was about to leave, suddenly, a figure appeared in the distance and dashed over. White Ape! Chapter 3776. The current appearance of the cave of the slaying dragon had already changed. Fang Chen was a little surprised to see White Ape as soon as he came out of the ancient mansion. Why did White Ape appear here? Why at this point in time? He always felt that White Ape was very mysterious, as if White Ape was very aware of all his movements. Just as he was deep in thought, White Ape came to his side and smiled at him. How is it? Your speed of growth in the cave of the slaying dragon is amazing. No wonder you were chosen by the peak experts of the chaotic realm. Senior. Fang Chen clasped his fists. Before he could finish, he was interrupted by White Ape, who said, I know you have a lot of questions in your heart, but I won't tell you. You don't have the right to know now. All you need to know is that the White Ape clan will obey the orders of the primitive tribes. Fang Chen's heart trembled when he heard this. The White Ape clan obeys the orders of the primitive tribes. Does this mean that everything White Ape did to him was also instructed by the primitive tribes? He recalled that the White Ape clan once wanted to follow the Nether King to the chaotic realm, which was also the intention of the primitive tribes. Fang Chen was even more curious. Could it be that the primitive tribes and the chaotic realm had a mysterious relationship? Or did Supreme Fu Jian go to the primitive tribes in the past? Let's go, I'll send you away. White Ape said softly when he saw Fang Chen in a daze. He waved his hand and then the world spun. Fang Chen felt that he was at the edge of the cave of the slaying dragon. The trial of the cave of the slaying dragon has ended. Although your growth didn't meet expectations, it's still very good. White Ape stroked his beard and said, You've received the inheritance of the kingdom of blood and your perfect bloodline has evolved further. You're not far from the limit. After you leave, try to improve your strength as much as possible and then go to the cliff of death to complete the task given to you by the great demon. Senior, what kind of existence is the great demon? Fang Chen finally asked the question in his heart. From the White Ape's words, it seemed like their tribe knew about the existence of the world-shaking great demon. Furthermore, they even knew about the death cliff. In other words, everything in the cave of the dragon-slaying cave was under their control. Fang Chen couldn't help but think of many things. He looked at the White Ape warily. What if all of this was a conspiracy of the White Ape clan? He couldn't help but take a few steps back, his pitch-black eyes staring fixedly at the White Ape. He wasn't being too careful, but he couldn't afford to make any mistakes. After all, he was from the Chaos Realm and shouldered the hopes of all living beings in the Chaos Realm. If he died, the Chaos Realm would also perish. His family, friends, wife, and children would all die. He would never allow such a thing to happen. So, he had to be careful while moving through the origin world. Hihi, if I had any enmity towards you, do you think you would still be alive? White Ape smiled faintly. The great demon involves too many things, including the primitive tribes. There are some things I can't tell you, but I can tell you for sure that the great demon is inextricably linked to Supreme Fu Jian, the Ghost Emperor, and the entire Chaos Realm. In fact, when I saw the Ghost Emperor's consciousness awaken, I didn't need to think to guess that the great demon's mission for you is to go to the Cliff of Death and stop the Ghost Emperor from obtaining the Ghost Artifact. White Ape continued, the great demon hides a great secret. If you can obtain the opportunity he gives you, it will be of great benefit to you, so great that you won't dare to believe it. As for the primitive tribes, when you return from the Cliff of Death, I will take you to their place of residence. Fang Chen's heart was filled with shock. Everything was intricate and complicated. He was even more convinced that the peak powerhouses of the Chaos Realm hadn't completely fallen, but were hiding in the dark to plot. He was just a chess piece in the hands of those great existences. Supreme Fu Jian, the Nether King, Tiger Supremacy, the Great Demon, the Ghost Emperor, and so on. And the primitive tribes. They were too mysterious. One day, I will find out the truth. After a long time, Fang Chen's primordial spirit trembled. He forcibly suppressed the curiosity in his heart and gradually calmed down. What he needed to do now was to improve his strength, evolve his perfect bloodline, destroy the Demon Devourer Patriarch's plan, and save the Chaos Realm. It was useless to think too much. If the primitive tribes were hostile to him, they could have attacked him after entering the cave of the slaying dragon. However, The series of strange things he experienced in the cave of the slaying dragon made Fang Chen even more convinced that the peak powerhouses of the Chaos Realm had a backup plan. The supremacy at the end of the reincarnation road was definitely not an ordinary half-step primordial chaos supremacy. It was very likely that he was the reincarnation of a supreme powerhouse of a certain era. Of course, all of this was just his guess. As for whether it was true, he could only verify it later. All right, don't think too much. I will tear the void of the cave of the slaying dragon. You can go out directly. White Ape patted Fang Chen's shoulder and said, after you go out, be careful. Don't expose your identity. Otherwise, you will cause a backlash from the origin world's heavenly Tao. Rip. Before Fang Chen could react, White Ape's wrist shook, and a crack was instantly torn in the void. Fang Chen was stunned for a moment, then immediately jumped into the crack. After Fang Chen went out, White Ape turned around. His eyes were like torches, penetrating layers of barriers and crossing the endless void. He saw the ancestor of the monster race and sword maniac who were looking for Fang Chen. How can the path of cultivation be peaceful? If I don't make it more difficult for you, how can you set foot on the peak? White Ape muttered to himself. With a wave of his hand, he instantly detained the ancestor of the monster race and sword maniac and threw them into the crack in the void. The two invincible saints were in a daze. They did not know what had happened from the beginning to the end. It was not until the two appeared outside the cave of the slaying dragon that their hearts were in turmoil. What's going on? The two looked at each other, extremely shocked. This is, outside the cave of the slaying dragon? The ancestor of the monster race said in a deep voice. We're out. Sword Maniac was shocked, but immediately thought of the Ghost Emperor's mission. Master must have used some extraordinary means to send us out of the cave of the slaying dragon. Hearing the word master, the ancestor of the monster race's face instantly darkened. No matter what, we have to get the ghost artifact. Side by side, the two disappeared into the darkness. Their ultimate destination was the Cliff of Death. In the empty cave of the slaying dragon, White Ape stood with his hands behind his back. His gaze was deep as he stared at the void and did not speak for a long time. When will it end? After an unknown period of time, his body was slightly hunched, and there was a trace of fatigue on his face. Will he be the hope of the Chaos Realm? The development of the origin world was too rapid, and with the existence of the demon-devouring demon clan leader, who was almost invincible in the Supreme Realm, the Chaos Realm could not hold on for long. Sigh, I hope you can succeed. Chapter 3777. Dark Forest. The void was torn apart and a figure descended from the sky. His body was bathed in lightning and contained extremely terrifying power. Dong. The towering trees in the forest were hit by the powerful impact and fell to the ground. Am I out? Fang Chen looked around and took a long time to stabilize himself. He was sure that he had left the cave of the annihilating dragon. Huff. Fang Chen took a deep breath and a complicated look appeared on his face. He had experienced too much in the cave of the annihilating dragon. His strength had increased a lot and his perfect bloodline had undergone a great transformation. Where am I? After Fang Chen left the dark forest, he wanted to find a city to check out where exactly he was. After a few hours, Fang Chen saw a city in the distant sky. Walking closer to take a look, he was shocked to discover that there were two bold and powerful characters on the city gate. How you? Bright Moon City? Fang Chen frowned and thought quickly. Flying Phoenix Mansion territory? Fang Chen curled his lips. He did not expect White Ape to send him out of the cave of the annihilating dragon and appear in the Flying Phoenix Mansion territory. In his memory, the Flying Phoenix Mansion could be said to be one of the top mansions among the four branches. It was many times more powerful than the Carefree Mansion. He remembered that the top genius of the Flying Phoenix Mansion, Huang Tian, who had the bloodline of the Vermilion Bird, was killed by him in the cave of the annihilating dragon. Buzz. With a thought, he sealed his aura. After all, this was the Flying Phoenix Mansion territory. If the experts of the Flying Phoenix Mansion sensed the bloodline of the Vermilion Bird in him, he would be killed. After entering Bright Moon City, Fang Chen came to a bustling restaurant. He found a quiet corner and drank quietly. Have you heard? Recently, something big has happened in the Flying Phoenix Mansion territory. An old man with a white beard said nervously. Instantly, he attracted the attention of the people around him. Uncle, what is it? A strong man asked. It's said that it's about the Flying Phoenix Mansion's mansion master's personal disciple, Huang Tian. The white-haired old man said proudly. He really enjoyed the feeling of being surrounded by people. Their eager gazes and passionate attitudes made him very happy. Huang Tian? That peerless genius with the vermilion bird bloodline? Didn't he enter the dragon-slaying cave to train and cultivate? When Huang Tian was mentioned, everyone started talking at once. However, one could clearly sense how terrifying Huang Tian was from their words. The trembling that came from the depths of his soul was definitely not an act. Reportedly, the Flying Phoenix Mansion's mansion master has decided to send Huang Tian to the 4 great branches. Furthermore, he has decided to pass the position of the Flying Phoenix Mansion's mansion master to Huang Tian, someone said. Furthermore, I've received reliable news that the 4 major branches value Huang Tian greatly. They believe that if the vermilion bird bloodline in Huang Tian's body can be completely awakened, it is very likely that he will be able to recreate the might of the ancient vermilion bird. Some of the martialists who knew Huang Tian better said. Everyone sighed and cried out in surprise. He's too powerful. No wonder he's the most outstanding disciple of the Flying Phoenix Mansion in billions of years. That's right. After coming out of the dragon-slaying cave, his strength should be comparable to the mansion master of the Flying Phoenix Mansion, right? Many of the martialists curled their lips. However, the white-haired old man who had spoken earlier shook his head. A complicated look appeared in his eyes. He was also from the Flying Phoenix Mansion. Naturally, he also hoped that Huang Tian was as outstanding as everyone said. However, the news that he had received was not good news. Instead, it was a heavy blow to the Flying Phoenix Mansion. You're right. However, the latest news that I've received is that Huang Tian has died in the dragon-slaying cave. As soon as he said that, the entire restaurant was in an uproar. Everyone was dumbfounded. They stared at the white-haired old man in disbelief. Uncle, you can't say such things. The white-haired old man smiled bitterly. The white-haired elder smiled bitterly. I once heard from the people of the City Lord's mansion that Huang Tian's life slip had shattered. Because of this, the Flying Phoenix Mansion's mansion master and the leaders of the top forces in the territory were so angry that they went crazy. Everyone's hearts trembled when they heard that. When they thought about what had happened in the city mansion and the strange actions of the top forces, their hearts beat faster. How is that possible? Who could have killed Huang Tian? Everyone was still in disbelief. The dragon-slaying cave was a sacred cultivation ground that had been created by the demon-devouring tribe. Those who had entered the dragon-slaying cave were the younger generation of the various mansions. They could not believe that someone from the younger generation could have killed Huang Tian. Everyone was talking amongst themselves. They were obviously shocked by the news that the white-haired old man had brought. However, they did not know that the mysterious killer that they were talking about was sitting in a corner, drinking wine. I can't stay here for long. Fang Chen thought to himself. As the mansion master of a powerful mansion like the Flying Phoenix Mansion, he must have something extraordinary about him. If he stayed here for long, he would most likely be discovered. Soon, Fang Chen paid the bill and left the restaurant. Not long after he left, the white-haired old man walked up the stairs and came to the top floor. My lord. The white-haired old man was very respectful to the black-robed man in the pavilion. How is it? The black-robed man asked in a hoarse voice as he closed his eyes to rest. There are a total of 39 suspicious people in the restaurant today. This is the list. The white-haired old man took out some scrolls and handed them to the black-robed man. There were pictures of people on them. The last one was Fang Chen's sketch. Okay, I got it. The black-robed man took the 39 sketches and nodded gently. The white-haired old man left the pavilion. At this time, a burly man appeared behind the black-robed man. The black-robed man handed the 39 sketches to him. Go. Yes, my lord. Ever since Huang Tian had died, the Flying Phoenix Mansion had been searching for the killer. The black-robed man was mainly in charge of the suspicious people in Haoyu City. He purposely let the white-haired old man talk about Huang Tian in the most luxurious and lively restaurant in Haoyu City. At the same time, he secretly asked people to pay attention to the suspicious people. Finally, he made sketches and tested them one by one. Although this method consumed a lot of manpower and resources. However, Huang Tian was too important to the Flying Phoenix Mansion. His death was a huge blow to the Flying Phoenix Mansion. Now, the Flying Phoenix Mansion's strategy was to kill 10,000 people by mistake rather than let one person go. I hope this matter will end soon. The black-robed man's face was full of fatigue. He had been driven crazy recently. However, he had no choice. The Flying Phoenix Mansion master was very angry and could start a massacre at any time. He did not want to get into trouble. When Fang Chen left Haoyu City, he did not notice that a burly man in the restaurant had followed him out silently with 39 sketches. Chapter 3778. Romance Chinese Network. After the burly man secretly left with Fang Chen, at the same time, many people were secretly tailing their respective targets for missions. In just an hour, the black-clothed man received 38 feedback messages. No. Not here either. No. Number 3. No. Number 19. The messages entered the black-robed man's ears one by one. His face became gloomier. Bang! When he received the 38th message, he finally could not take it anymore. He punched the table next to him, instantly smashing it into pieces. Damn it! After spending so much time, there was no clue at all. He was furious. Where's the other one? He turned on the communication jade pendant and asked the burly man. Buzz. There was a buzzing noise from the communication jade pendant. What's the situation on your side? The black-robed man asked again, but there was no reply. He realized that something was wrong. In a flash, he rushed out of Haoyu City. At this moment, in a valley thousands of miles away from Haoyu City, Fang Chen smashed the burly man's head with his palm. He then crushed the communication jade pendant in the man's arms. You want to send a message? Fang Chen sneered. At the same time, he knew that his identity was likely to be exposed. He did not stay any longer and disappeared in the valley. Soon after, the black-robed man rushed into the valley. The first thing he saw when he entered was the corpse of the burly man. He was furious and his eyes were bloodshot. He looked up to the sky and roared, "You finally appeared." The person who could kill the burly man silently was most likely the murderer who killed Huang Tian. He clearly remembered what the master of the Flying Phoenix Prefecture had said. He would rather kill 10,000 people by mistake than let one person go. Therefore, he made Fang Chen his target. Send the message to the city master's mansion. Tell him that this person is suspicious. The black-robed man quickly gave the order and sent Fang Chen's sketch to the city master's mansion. When the city lord's mansion received the news, it immediately dispatched a large number of martial artists and offered a huge reward to capture Fang Chen. After leaving Haoyu City, Fang Chen planned to find a city with a teleportation array and return to the Carefree Palace. He would check out the situation there before heading to the Cliff of Death. However, when he arrived at Annihilation City, he was immediately discovered. It's him. In a dark corner, a disheveled old man secretly locked onto Fang Chen. Fang Chen also felt that something was wrong. The atmosphere in Annihilation was very oppressive. He vaguely felt that someone was secretly watching him. Did he discover me? Fang Chen frowned. He pretended that nothing was wrong and quickly walked to the teleportation array. Where to? The guard asked. Carefree Manor. Pay enough wealth. Before the guard could finish his words, a middle-aged man in luxurious clothes walked over with a smile. He looked at Fang Chen seriously and asked, Brother, may I ask why you're going to Carefree Manor? What's the matter? Fang Chen frowned and did not answer. I'm just asking. The man in luxurious clothes grinned and immediately signaled the guard to close the teleportation array. Buzz. The moment the teleportation array was closed, the middle-aged man in luxurious clothes angrily pointed at Fang Chen and said coldly, You look exactly the same as the wanted portrait from the city master's mansion. You actually want to escape from under my nose? Ridiculous. Fang Chen was silent. He held his long sword and was ready to fight at any time. Swoosh. The middle-aged man in luxurious clothes took out the sketch. It was exactly the same as Fang Chen's. Rumbling sounds rang out as the army pressed in, surrounding Fang Chen so tightly that not even a drop of water could leak out. Take him down. After the middle-aged man in luxurious clothes gave the order, the army immediately attacked Fang Chen. Swoosh. Since he had been exposed, he had to leave quickly. Otherwise, he would be in danger when the city master of the Flying Phoenix Mansion arrived. Wherever the long sword passed, sword chi would sweep across and corpses would fall into a pool of blood. This scene stunned the middle-aged man in luxurious clothes. How is this possible? He exclaimed, his heart trembling. At this moment, the disheveled old man in the corner of Miei City made his move. He stomped his foot and his figure instantly shot over. When he appeared in front of Fang Chen, a shield suddenly appeared in his hand. With a low roar, the shield contained an extremely strong force and collided with the long sword in Fang Chen's hand. Dong! 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 The shield collided with the long sword and a scorching light burst out. Kid, who are you? The disheveled old man channeled his power into the shield and asked coldly. Who are you? Fang Chen asked. Why are you stopping me? Humph, my Taoist name is Miei. Fang Chen instantly understood that this disheveled old man was the city master of Miei City. When they fought, Fang Chen realized that the shield in the old man's hand was an origin source saint weapon and was very powerful. Most importantly, the old man had channeled his origin source energy into the shield and merged it with the saint weapon, greatly increasing his defense. Invincible sword technique. Fang Chen unleashed his invincible sword art. Terrifying sword lights crisscrossed, and his ninth order saint level power was fully unleashed. Boom! He crushed the disheveled old man in a crushing manner. Dong! The disheveled old man was injured by the powerful impact of his shield. He spat out blood and his face was pale. You killed Huang Tian? He wasn't sure before, but now, Fang Chen's strength was enough to kill Huang Tian. The disheveled old man's heart was filled with fear. He couldn't imagine that such a young martial artist could unleash such powerful strength. Quickly inform the Flying Phoenix Mansion master. The city master of Miei City shouted. The middle-aged man in luxurious clothes finally reacted and hurriedly sent a message to the mansion master. An hour later, Fang Chen left Miei City. The huge Miei City had mountains of corpses and rivers of blood. Everyone, including the city master of Miei City, had died at the hands of Fang Chen. He didn't want to kill the innocent, but the people of Miei City wanted to stop him. Moreover, they were from the demon-devouring race, which was the enemy of the Chaos Realm. Therefore, Fang Chen didn't feel guilty about killing them. The only thing he was worried about was the pursuit of the Flying Phoenix Mansion Master. However, with his current strength, the Flying Phoenix Mansion Master might not be able to kill him. Moreover, he was going to the Cliff of Death soon. The Flying Phoenix Mansion wouldn't be able to find him. A few days later, a piece of news in the Flying Phoenix Mansion shocked the world. Huang Tian had died. The murderer had killed everyone in Miei City and then escaped. The Flying Phoenix Mansion Master, who had rushed to the scene, was furious. He was already collecting the aura and characteristics of the murderer. He swore to tear the murderer into pieces and kill all 9 generations of his family. Once the news was out, the entire Flying Phoenix Mansion was in an uproar. Many people were curious. Who was it that had the guts to provoke the entire Soaring Phoenix Manor? Some people said that it was a genius from another mansion. Some said that the murderer was from the 4 branches. In short, there were different opinions. As time passed, the entire Flying Phoenix Mansion entered a state of full alert. Not even a fly could fly out or in. Chapter 3779. Joe. I choked on my words. Soaring Phoenix Manor. As one of the top residences under the 4 great generals, its overall strength was extremely powerful. When the news came out, the world was shocked. Many people were astonished. Huang Tian had been killed by a mysterious person. Who could kill Huang Tian in the cave of the annihilating dragon? And now, there was news that the person who had killed Huang Tian was in the territory of the Flying Phoenix Mansion. This caused the Flying Phoenix Mansion to become even more furious. The Flying Phoenix Manor Lord personally came out of seclusion and headed towards Annihilation City to investigate the aura left behind in the void. Moreover, he forcefully used the time reversal method to find the culprit. In the end, he combined the sketches with what he saw in the space-time reversal to determine Fang Chen's approximate strength and form. Give it all you've got. This was the only order issued by the Flying Phoenix Prefecture Lord. The entire Soaring Phoenix Prefecture was in chaos. As for the main character, Fang Chen, he had hidden himself and wanted to leave the Soaring Phoenix Prefecture as soon as possible. On this day, Fang Chen arrived in front of a mountain range. As long as he could pass through this mountain range, he would be able to leave the Soaring Phoenix Manor. At that time, no matter how strong the Manor Lord was, he wouldn't be able to find him. At the relay station, people came and went in an endless stream. "Brother, are you new here?" someone suddenly asked in a low voice. Fang Chen nodded without batting an eyelid. At this time, he had already changed his appearance. Ordinary people would not be able to recognize him. The Soaring Phoenix mountain range contains great danger. Unless one is an invincible saint, it would be very difficult to pass through the mountain range. The man smiled and said, "Seeing that you're alone, let me remind you. If you want to cross the mountain range, it's best to join a mercenary group. That way, the danger will be greatly reduced." "Oh." Fang Chen looked at the sharp-mouthed man beside him. Seeing Fang Chen's confusion, the pointy-mouthed man said, "Do you see? There are so many people in the relay station, and they are all lone travelers. They don't dare to rashly enter the Soaring Phoenix mountain range, so they are all waiting for the mercenary group. However, our luck isn't bad. We managed to wait until Princess Huang arrived." Fang Chen frowned. "Who is Princess Huang? You don't even know Princess Huang?" The pointer-mouthed man's eyes widened as he looked at Fang Chen. "In the entire Soaring Phoenix Manor, I'm afraid there's no one who doesn't recognize Princess Phoenix." Fang Chen was startled and knew that he had said something wrong. He hurriedly explained, "I have been following Master to cultivate in seclusion. I don't know anything about the outside world." "No wonder." Then, the pointer-mouthed man explained to Fang Chen. Princess Phoenix was the daughter of the Flying Phoenix Prefecture Lord. Her potential was much stronger than Huang Tiando's. A long time ago, she was taken in as a disciple by a lone cultivator. After that, she followed her master to cultivate. Only all the way until a very long time later did people know that Princess Huang's master was actually the Empyrean Longhu whose name once shook the world. Everyone knew about Heavenly Venerate Longhu. He was the only half-step chaotic supremacy among the itinerant cultivators. Even the experts of the 4 major branches were respectful to him. Princess Huang's status also rose because of this. However, she was focused on cultivation and did not ask about the matters of the Soaring Phoenix Manor. If Huang Tiando had not fallen, she would not have returned. Princess Huang wants to pass through the Soaring Phoenix mountain range. It is said that she wants to hire 100 martial artists to lead the way. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. With Princess Huang around, we can pass through the Soaring Phoenix mountain range easily. The pointy-mouthed man became more excited as he spoke. From his eyes, one could see his respect for Princess Huang. However, Fang Chen frowned. Logically speaking, for an expert like Princess Huang, it should be easy for her to pass through the Soaring Phoenix mountain range. However, she wanted to hire 100 martial artists to lead the way. Why was that? His intuition told him that this matter was not simple. He quietly asked the pointy-mouthed man for information and probed the surrounding environment. "Brother, how about coming with us?" The pointy-mouthed man invited Fang Chen. Fang Chen hesitated for a moment but still nodded in agreement. A few days later, Princess Huang came. She was wearing a golden dress and exuded a cold aura. She was like an ice goddess. She swept her gaze across everyone and asked, "Is everyone here?" "Princess, everyone is here," the guard said in awe. Princess Huang nodded. On her cold face, There was a gloomy aura. She sat on the luxurious carriage and set off in a grandiose manner. "Let's go." Fang Chen mixed in the crowd and secretly observed Princess Huang. When he first laid eyes on Princess Huang, he detected a trace of abnormality. Princess Huang is the daughter of the Soaring Phoenix Prefecture Master? Fang Chen frowned. He could clearly feel a trace of Chaos Realm aura flashing across Princess Huang's body. If she was the daughter of the Soaring Phoenix Prefecture Master, why would there be Chaos Realm aura on her body? Could it be she had come into contact with people from the Chaos Realm or had killed people from the Chaos Realm? For a moment, Fang Chen's mind was filled with doubts. "Everyone, be careful. We are about to enter the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range," the guard shouted. Immediately, 100 martial artists walked at the front and led the way for Princess Huang. "You guys walk faster," the guard urged. So cold. After entering the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range, Fang Chen's first feeling was bone-chilling cold. The pointy-mouthed man beside him introduced the place to Fang Chen as they walked. "Brother, do you know why there are so many people coming in wave after wave despite the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range being so dangerous?" "Why?" "Because in the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range, there are many relics of powerhouses. If you are lucky enough to get the relics and still be able to get out alive, it means that you are about to soar into the sky." "You believe this?" Fang Chen curled his lips. The pointy-mouthed man said in a low voice, "You don't know, but I have vaguely heard that a great battle broke out in the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range. It is said that it even involved people from the outside world." Hearing this, Fang Chen was shocked. The people from the outside world mentioned by the pointy-mouthed man should be people from the Chaos Realm. A great battle broke out here, and the powerhouses from the Chaos Realm also participated in it. All of a sudden, he turned his head to look at Princess Huang on the golden carriage. The latter's cold eyes also happened to look at him. Their eyes met, and they looked at each other. Princess Huang and Fang Chen could sense each other's hearts. "Who is he?" Princess Huang turned her head and asked the guard. Fang Chen was startled. He knew that his identity had been exposed in the exchange of glances just now. He was ready to leave. But, at this moment, Princess Huang transmitted her voice to him. "Are you from the Chaos Realm?" Fang Chen didn't say anything, his body stiffened on the ground. "We are not enemies." Princess Huang's next sentence made Fang Chen tremble as he looked at the former in disbelief. "When we enter the core of the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range, let's talk alone." Princess Huang transmitted her voice. In her beautiful eyes, a strange color flashed as she looked at Fang Chen. After pondering for a moment, Fang Chen nodded in agreement. Although he didn't completely believe Princess Huang's words, he believed half of it. He wanted to see what kind of identity Princess Huang had and why she had the aura of the Chaos Realm. All right. Baidu searching 81 Chinese network. No advertising message. Chapter 3780. The Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range was much more dangerous than he had imagined. It wasn't until they gradually went deeper into the mountain range that Fang Chen understood why many five-elements Sage Realm powerhouses didn't dare to pass through the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range alone. Instead, they had to wait for the mercenary group. Along the way, they encountered countless powerful demonic beasts. There were some demonic beasts that he had never heard of or seen before. These demonic beasts were all demonic beasts with super powerful bloodlines. If placed in the Chaos Realm, these demonic beasts could be considered the top demonic beasts. Of course, with the current broken Chaos Realm, the heavenly Tao was incomplete. It was impossible to give birth to such heaven-defying demonic beasts. Only the Source World could give birth to such demonic beasts. The deeper they went, the more shocked Fang Chen was. His intuition told him that the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range was very unusual. The legendary Chaos Realm War was most likely real. Roar. From time to time, the roar of a beast could be heard. Fang Chen looked around. Of the 100 martial artists who followed Princess Huang in, more than 30 had died. The silent mountain range was suddenly broken by the roar of a beast. Many people were terrified and were on guard. The demonic beasts are here. Everyone, let's join forces to fight the enemy. Suddenly, someone screamed. Immediately, The remaining martial artists joined forces to fight the enemy. Because other than that, they had no other choice. Rumble. A deafening sound resounded through the sky. The remaining martial artists unleashed all their skills and fought fiercely with the strange and powerful demonic beasts. The battle was incomparably tragic. Blood flowed like a river. Swoosh. A demonic beast attacked Fang Chen. Just as Fang Chen was about to attack, he suddenly felt a burst of fragrance behind him. Then, he felt a white palm pulling his shoulder. In the next moment, a gentle voice sounded in his ear. "Follow me." Crash. Fang Chen's mind moved and quickly left the battlefield with Princess Huang. However, not long after they left, a furious roar of a beast was heard. The Beast Emperor was alarmed. It was slaughtering the remaining martial artists. At this time, Princess Huang had brought Fang Chen to a very secluded place. Crash. In front of the mountain stream, there was lush greenery. On top of the cliff, there was a waterfall flowing down. Compared to the battlefield just now, this place was very peaceful. "Who exactly are you?" After Fang Chen stabilized himself, he stared at Princess Huang. The latter's series of unexpected actions left him scratching his head in confusion. However, he was certain that the rumors of Princess Phoenix being the daughter of the Flying Phoenix Palace Master were absolutely false. "You don't know?" Princess Huang pursed her red lips. The coldness on her face vanished and was replaced by a faint smile. Her beautiful eyes flashed as she surveyed Fang Chen, as though she wanted to see through him. Fang Chen shook his head. "You're not the Flying Phoenix Manor Master's daughter. I can sense the aura of the primal chaos realm on you. Who are you? Why did you bring me here?" Boom. A deafening roar came from the battlefield. When the Beast Sovereign was enraged, millions of corpses fell. Those martial artists hired by Princess Huang found it hard to escape from the Beast Sovereign's furious attacks. Even those guards who followed Princess Huang also died tragically on the battlefield. Fang Chen frowned. He stared at Princess Huang. "You hired 100 martial artists. On the surface, you asked them to lead the way. In reality, I'm afraid you want them to attract the Beast Sovereign's firepower, right?" Princess Huang smiled. She didn't deny it. This also meant that she admitted it. "What do you want to do?" Before confirming Princess Huang's identity, Fang Chen didn't dare to be careless. After all, this was the territory of the Flying Phoenix Palace. He had to be careful. "That's right. The reason I hired them is to attract the Beast Sovereign's firepower from the Flying Phoenix mountain range. The reason I brought you here is to let you witness something," Princess Huang said. "Follow me." Even though Fang Chen was very puzzled in his heart, he still followed Princess Huang forward. Crash. The two of them passed through the waterfall and went deeper. Soon, they arrived at the true core of the Flying Phoenix mountain range. The atmosphere here was very stifling. The air was filled with bloody killing intent. It was as if one would lose their mind at any moment. Along the way, Fang Chen saw countless corpses. Although they had been dead for countless years, these corpses still emitted a terrifying aura. It could be inferred that when they were alive, they must have been peerless powerhouses. A great battle once erupted here. Princess Huang led the way and suddenly said, "Once, there were powerhouses from the Chaos World that sneaked into the Source World. They set up a trap in the Flying Phoenix mountain range and launched a great battle to destroy the Flying Phoenix Palace. But in the end, they failed." Hearing this, Fang Chen was startled. "The corpses you see are basically left behind by the Chaos World's powerhouses after they died." Princess Huang continued, "The rumors in the world are correct. There are indeed ruins left behind by countless powerhouses in the Flying Phoenix mountain range. But they don't know that the true treasure in the Flying Phoenix mountain range is a heart." Amen. Fang Chen's heart shook. Swoosh. Princess Huang flicked her wrist and the fog in front of them suddenly dispersed. A hidden canyon appeared in front of Fang Chen. At this time, Princess Huang stopped and turned to look at Fang Chen. "So far, including you, I have seen a total of more than 30 people from the Chaos World. But most of them died in the hands of the devouring demon clan. You have such a cultivation at such a young age. If my guess is correct, You should be the one who killed Huang Tian, right? Princess Huang said. Fang Chen nodded. The source world isn't as simple as you think. There are undercurrents surging and a war can break out at any time, Princess Huang said. Why did you bring me here? Fang Chen couldn't help but ask. Princess Huang shrugged and said with a smile, My master is a member of a primitive clan. As soon as these words came out, Fang Chen's expression changed and his heart trembled. Everyone knew that Princess Huang's master was a rogue cultivator. Even the 4 major branches had to give him face. However, they didn't know that the rogue cultivator was a member of the primitive clan at the core of the life-forbidden zone. Why? Are you surprised? Fang Chen shook his head and tried hard to calm the shock in his heart. In this way, everything made sense. The primitive clan and the chaos world were inextricably linked. Fang Chen even guessed that Supreme Fu Jian had once been to the primitive clan. And Princess Huang was a disciple of the primitive clan. So, it was understandable that she brought him here. I sneaked into the Flying Phoenix Manor to wait for you, Princess Huang said. In fact, she had been accepted as a disciple by her master a long time ago. Then, with the help of her master, she sneaked into the Flying Phoenix Manor and performed so well that she became the goddaughter of the Flying Phoenix Manor Lord. After the Flying Phoenix Manor Lord announced this matter, her master also appeared in front of the world with another identity. But the Flying Phoenix Manor Lord hid one thing. He didn't tell the world that Princess Huang was his goddaughter. Waiting for me? Fang Chen was stunned. Chapter 3781. How could Fang Chen remain calm? The well-known daughter of the Flying Phoenix Manor Master, Princess Huang, had sneaked into the Flying Phoenix Manor to wait for him. His face was filled with astonishment and even a little sluggish. What was going on here? Why was Princess Huang waiting for him? Ever since he reincarnated, he discovered that the origin world wasn't as simple as he had imagined. Especially the people and things he had encountered over the years, they were even more confusing. Who was the master of the Kingdom of Blood in the ancient manor? Who was the world-shaking great demon beneath the ancient mansion? Where did the white-haired old man, the disciple of Venerable Tiger, go? What role did the primitive races play in the war between the origin world and the Chaos Realm? What was Princess Huang's true identity? A series of questions surfaced in his mind. Fang Chen's dark eyes stared at Princess Huang. Who are you? Fang Chen asked again. But Princess Huang didn't answer. There was a faint smile on her fair face as she pointed at the canyon ahead. Actually, the one I'm waiting for isn't necessarily you, Princess Huang said again. She explained that she had sneaked into the Flying Phoenix Manor to wait for the living beings of the Chaos Realm who shouldered the heavy responsibility of saving the Chaos Realm. So when this person appeared, it would be the time when her mission was completed. If it were someone else who came to carry out this mission, she would also wait. To be precise, Princess Huang was waiting for the person who shouldered the heavy responsibility of saving the Chaos Realm. This person could be anyone in the Chaos Realm and not a specific person. After listening to Princess Huang's explanation, Fang Chen was even more puzzled. Why was Princess Huang waiting for the person who saved the Chaos Realm? Could it be that the peak powerhouses at the end of the reincarnation road had long expected this day and thus had set up this scheme for eternity in order to find the hope of saving the Chaos Realm? Thinking of this, Fang Chen's heart trembled slightly. Heaven and earth were the chessboard and all living beings were the chess pieces. And he, on this chessboard, what did he represent? Was he a chess piece? Who was controlling the chessboard? Was it Supreme Fu Jian and the other peak powerhouses of the Chaos Realm? The more he thought about it, the more confused Fang Chen felt. In the end, he shook his head hard and stabilized his figure. His dark eyes stared at Princess Huang. Since she was willing to reveal her identity, then all his questions would be answered from her. Princess Huang. Fang Chen asked in a deep voice, "Can you clear my doubts?" Princess Huang shook her head. Her beautiful hair covered her face, causing others to be unable to see her appearance. However, a strange expression that was difficult to detect flashed through her beautiful eyes. "You only need to know that I will not harm you. Instead, I will do my best to help you transform your perfect bloodline to the extreme and help you step into the primal chaos supreme realm. Princess Huang pursed her lips. When you return to the chaos world, all your questions will be answered. The origin world wasn't as simple as everyone thought. Even though this was created by the demon-devouring clan's chief, there were undercurrents that flowed. Not only were there primitive clans, there were also many hidden experts and ancient existences. They were either in slumber, in closed-door cultivation, or struggling at death's door. These were all things that the world did not know. This was also why the patriarch of the Demon Devourer clan was a genuine primal chaos sovereign. Moreover, he had triggered countless godfall battles and caused the primal chaos realm to shatter. He had taken the opportunity to absorb 2/3 of the primal chaos realm's providence, causing the primal chaos realm's heavenly Tao to become incomplete. He had almost caused the primal chaos realm to become a barren dead planet. Even Fu Jian, who was at his peak, was not a match for the patriarch of the Demon Devourer clan. One could only imagine how strong he was. However, even so, the patriarch of the Demon Devourer clan did not dare to claim that he was invincible in the universe. He was still in closed-door cultivation, trying to break through to the final level. Because at their level, they had touched the threshold of the primal chaos supreme realm. Their understanding of the heavenly Tao had reached an unimaginable level. They could see things that ordinary people could not see, and they could also see the operation of the world. Therefore, they were even more fearful and careful. Unless they were completely confident. In this way, it also gave the primal chaos realm a chance to breathe, which allowed Fang Chen to come here. Whoosh! Fang Chen took a deep breath and did not continue to dwell on this matter. He knew very well that if Princess Huang did not say anything, he would not be able to get any useful questions out of her. Now, the only thing he could be sure of was that Princess Huang was not lying. She had no ill intentions towards him. Let's go. Let's go in. Princess Huang led the way in front while Fang Chen followed behind. His eyes flashed as the scene of the White Ape clan appeared in his mind. He increasingly felt that the primitive races had an extremely close relationship with the primal chaos realm. Voila! With a flash of white light, the two of them stepped through a void gate and arrived at the deepest part of the canyon. The Beast Emperor has been lured away by them. We have an hour's time. Princess Huang said. Once the Beast Emperor was alerted, they would be in big trouble. Dong dong dong. All of a sudden, Fang Chen felt the earth trembling slightly. On the surface of his skin, an earthy yellow aura appeared and covered his skin. At the same time, the pulsating power of the earth resonated with the trembling of the earth. What's going on? Fang Chen frowned. Why would the earth have such a huge reaction? Could it be? He recalled what Princess Huang said before. In the soaring Phoenix mountain range, the true treasure wasn't the various ruins in the legends. It was a heart. Carefully sensing it, the trembling of the earth was exactly the same as the beating of a heart. What a terrifying power! In an instant, Fang Chen's heart shook and his head exploded. He let out a miserable cry. Fortunately, Princess Huang placed a palm on his shoulder and an ice-cold aura drilled into his mind, waking him up instantly. This is... Fang Chen was a little frightened. Princess Huang said in a low voice, "Don't use your divine sense to investigate." Whose heart is this? Fang Chen couldn't help but ask. His primordial spirit had long reached the nascent soul realm. In the entire origin world, it could be said that he was the strongest under the primal chaos realm. However, before he could even touch the heart, he almost lost himself. Do you know the Sky Dragon Supreme? Princess Huang asked. What? Fang Chen couldn't help but exclaim and almost jumped up. Don't tell me that the heart here belongs to the Sky Dragon Supreme. How could he not know the Sky Dragon Supreme? It could even be said that there was no one in the primal chaos realm who didn't know the Sky Dragon Supreme. He was the top powerhouse of the Dark Age. His seniority was much higher than the Ghost Emperor. Although he had disappeared for countless years, his legend was still circulating in the primal chaos realm. Speaking of the Sky Dragon Supreme, people's hearts were filled with reverence and worship. Because without the Sky Dragon Supreme, there wouldn't be any epochs after the Dark Age. Perhaps the various races in the primal chaos realm would have already become the dust of history. That's right. This heart belongs to the Sky Dragon Supreme. Princess Huang nodded. It's just that. Wonderful Bookhouse. Chapter 3782. What? Fang Chen exclaimed, his heart filled with shock. The Sky Dragon Supreme was a legendary existence. He had appeared long before the Devouring Devil clan, but his whereabouts were unknown during the chaos of the darkness. Later on, many pinnacle experts went to search for him and finally came to the conclusion that the Sky Dragon Supreme had fallen. However, his place of death had never been discovered. Now, the Sky Dragon Supreme's heart was actually in the core of this canyon. How could Fang Chen not be shocked? How did the Sky Dragon Supreme come to the origin world? Although he was trembling, Fang Chen's mind was still very sharp. He caught the wrong information and asked directly. Princess Huang's beautiful face had a faint smile. Her beautiful eyes flickered as she looked at Fang Chen and said, "The Sky Dragon Supreme that you people in the Chaos Realm thought had fallen didn't actually die. He was just trapped in a space-time and couldn't escape until the origin world appeared." Fang Chen frowned as if he had thought of something. Princess Huang continued, "Back then, the Sky Dragon Supreme was trapped in an unknown darkness. He couldn't escape even after using all his strength. He had been bitterly holding on until the Devouring Devil clan's patriarch created the origin world. Could it be that the place where the Sky Dragon Supreme was trapped was the dark void before the origin world was created?" Fang Chen asked subconsciously. Apart from this, he couldn't think of anything else related to the Sky Dragon Supreme. That's right. Princess Huang nodded. The Sky Dragon Supreme, who was bitterly holding on, tore open the dark void when the Devouring Devil clan's patriarch created the origin world. He took the opportunity to escape, but because he had been resisting the dark void for a long time, he was heavily injured and fell into a deep sleep in a hidden place in the origin world. However, the Devouring Devil clan's patriarch had also discovered this. After the origin world stabilized, he had been searching for the Sky Dragon Supreme and finally found him. After a fierce battle, the Sky Dragon Supreme fell. Fang Chen was stunned. He didn't expect the Sky Dragon Supreme to be alive and had fought with the Devouring Devil clan's patriarch. If that was the case, did that mean the Sky Dragon Supreme was still alive? Supreme Sky Dragon died at the hands of clan leader Devourer Demon. What about Supreme Fu Jian? Fang Chen's pitch-black eyes stared intently at Princess Huang, trying to find a trace of useful information from her expression. However, he was disappointed. Princess Huang was very calm as though everything was under her control. She smiled and looked at Fang Chen. For some people, you might think they are dead, but in reality, they aren't. After saying such an unfathomable sentence, Princess Huang continued, "Moreover, there are many types of death. The so-called death of those peak experts, in our eyes, is inconceivable. Exalted Realm experts are peerless experts no matter which era they're in. With your current strength, you're utterly unqualified to talk about Exalted Realm experts. It's not up to you to find out if Supreme Fu Jian is still alive." Clearly, Princess Huang was not willing to continue being entangled in this matter. She changed the topic and returned to Heavenly Dragon Sovereign. "However, I can tell you with certainty that Supreme Sky Dragon has completely fallen. Even if another Exalted were to take action, it would be impossible to revive him. There were too many aspects involved in reviving an Exalted Realm expert. One would even have to confront the Heavenly Tao. Once time and space were reversed to revive an Exalted Realm expert, it would definitely cause chaos in the Heavenly Tao and cause the world to return to chaos. Then, was his heart not discovered by the Devouring Devil clan's patriarch? Since it was the Devouring Devil clan's patriarch who chased after Supreme Sky Dragon and killed him, it was impossible for his heart to escape from the patriarch's eyes. This was also what Fang Chen was puzzled about. A Exalted Realm expert is a Exalted Realm expert after all. We can't look at him with our eyes. Princess Huang said. Back then, the Heavenly Dragon Sovereign had indeed fallen. However, before he died, he had fused all of his strength into two hearts. One of them contained his strongest strength, while the other contained an extremely small portion of his strength. Needless to say, Fang Chen knew that the heart in the core of the canyon should be the heart that contained a small portion of his strength. The heart that contained the strongest strength lured the devouring devil clan's patriarch, and this heart was hidden here. Supreme Sky Dragon's method was unique. Even the devouring devil clan's patriarch did not discover it. Therefore, this heart could be hidden until now. Then, how did you discover it? Fang Chen asked. Even the devouring devil clan's patriarch was deceived. He did not believe that a mere Princess Huang could discover it. Have you forgotten what I told you? Princess Huang said. My master is a member of the primitive race. He witnessed the battle back then with his own eyes. Fang Chen's heart was in turmoil. The battle between Supreme Sky Dragon and the devouring devil clan's patriarch was witnessed by the primitive race. Then, why didn't they stop them? Don't let your imagination run wild. The mystery of the primitive race is not something we can imagine. I brought you here to let you try refining the heart. Princess Huang's voice interrupted Fang Chen's wild thoughts. If you can refine the heart of Supreme Sky Dragon, you will benefit immensely. However, I must remind you that although the Sky Dragon Sovereign has fallen and his heart only contains a small portion of his power, it is still not something that ordinary people can refine. If you are the slightest bit careless, you will die. You must consider this carefully. Princess Huang reminded. Buzz. As she spoke, Princess Huang waved her hand gently. Suddenly, a dark luster appeared in the depths of the canyon. Dong. 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 The perfect bloodline in Fang Chen's body became restless uncontrollably. Even the vermilion bird bloodline began to circulate wildly. His body involuntarily moved towards the depths of the canyon. This is... Fang Chen was shocked. Was this the heart of Supreme Sky Dragon? Through his perfect bloodline and vermilion bird bloodline, he could clearly feel how terrifying the power emitted from the heart was. And this was merely the incomplete heart of the heavenly dragon sovereign. It was too terrifying. In a trance, Fang Chen fell into a daze. Fortunately, the vermilion bird bloodline released the might of a divine beast under the strong pressure, forcing the power emitted from Supreme Sky Dragon's heart to retreat. At the same time, the perfect bloodline revolved around him, protecting him. Divine beast bloodline? Princess Huang was also a little surprised. She didn't expect Fang Chen to have the vermilion bird bloodline. Moreover, it seemed to contain the divine might of the vermilion bird. Her expression was complicated as she stared at Fang Chen. After a long time, she spoke. As expected of the person chosen by those people to carry out the mission. Then, she no longer spoke and looked towards the depths of the canyon. Although the heart of Supreme Sky Dragon had not appeared, the power it emitted was enough to crush all the Saint Realm experts. Fang Chen walked towards the depths of the canyon step by step. It was as if he saw reincarnation, the past and the future. Chapter 3783. When Fang Chen followed Princess Huang and entered the depths of the canyon, his mind was in a daze. For an instant, he felt as though he had experienced 100 reincarnations. His head hurt and he subconsciously cried out. Luckily, Princess Huang hurriedly turned around and slapped him with her palm, allowing him to regain his senses. Who? Fang Chen's mind trembled violently. He panted heavily and inclined his head to look at Princess Huang. His countenance was pale and he looked extremely weak. Earlier, Fang Chen asked with great difficulty. However, Princess Huang merely smiled. Although this heart only contains a small portion of the Sky Dragon Sovereign's power, those who can step into the Paragon realm are all favored by the heavens and earth. Their methods are unfathomable. Earlier, you fell into the illusory attack of the Sky Dragon Sovereign's heart. If you don't wake up, you might be lost in the cycle of reincarnation forever. Upon hearing this, Fang Chen drew in a breath of cold air. If Princess Huang didn't lead the way and he came here alone, what sort of scene would that be? He couldn't imagine it. However, he was even more curious. Why didn't Princess Huang suffer from any illusory attacks? Could it be that she had some special methods? The more he interacted with Princess Huang, the more Fang Chen discovered that she was extremely mysterious. This was especially so for her master, who was from a primordial clan. This caused her identity to be even more complicated and mysterious. Naturally, Fang Chen could be sure that Princess Huang didn't have any malice towards him. If not, she would have many chances to kill him. He racked his brains. What was the Chaos Realm hiding exactly? Or, in the past, where did the supreme existences of the Chaos Realm go? Did they really die completely? Or could it be that they had always been hiding in the dark, laying out the grand scheme for all eternity? As for him, he was merely an ordinary chess piece that was chosen. Although this heart has experienced the baptism of countless years and its power has decreased, the might of the paragon still exists. Be careful and follow me. Don't wander around recklessly, Princess Huang sternly reminded. After that, she moved with light steps, bringing Fang Chen with her as she sped towards the location of the heart. Princess Huang didn't walk straight. She would ponder for a long time before taking another step. Also, her steps were extremely strange. Even though Fang Chen was recultivated for 2 lifetimes, he still couldn't see through it. What profound footsteps! Fang Chen couldn't help but sigh. He was also an expert of the 5 elements Saint realm. In his previous life in the chaotic realm, he had already reached the peak and was at the strongest level of the invincible saints. As long as a primal chaos supreme did not appear, he was confident that he could fight against a half-step primal chaos supreme. However, after reincarnating into the origin world, Fang Chen's understanding was gradually disrupted. He couldn't help but smile bitterly when he recalled his previous life's cultivation. It was no exaggeration to say that in his previous life, he was not qualified to be called an invincible saint. Even among the level 9 saints, his foundation was not very stable. Of course, this was only towards the origin world. Now that he had stepped into the 9th order saint realm after his rebirth, his state of mind had undergone an earth-shattering change. Not only had his perfect bloodline and vermilion bird bloodline changed, but there was also the invincible belief that came from the depths of his primordial spirit. The world is so big, nothing is too strange. Fang Chen shook his head and smiled bitterly. He could only comfort himself with these words. Judging from Princess Huang's aura, she was no match for him. However, if the two of them really fought, Fang Chen was not completely confident. After all, the latter's master was from a primitive tribe. Although her combat strength was weaker, she might have some life-saving trump cards. Crack. Unknowingly, Princess Huang had already taken 30 steps with Fang Chen. With every step forward, Fang Chen could feel the pressure increasing. However, Princess Huang knew the layout of this place and was able to skillfully resist the pressure. That was why they could move forward so easily. All of a sudden, a clear voice rang out. Fang Chen abruptly raised his head and suddenly discovered that Princess Phoenix's long dress actually showed signs of tearing. There were bloodstains flowing out from her chest. "Are you injured?" Fang Chen asked. Princess Huang's chest heaved up and down. She hurriedly turned around, not wanting Fang Chen to see her injury. At the same time, she said in a mosquito-like voice, "I'm fine. When I took a step forward, I triggered a restriction." "Your chest is bleeding," Fang Chen continued. In such an environment, one couldn't be the slightest bit careless. Otherwise, it was very likely that it would bring about a fatal blow. Princess Huang's chest was bleeding. This also meant that the gravity was pressing down on her chest. Once she couldn't endure it, what awaited her would be an attack that could topple mountains and overturn seas. At that time, even immortals wouldn't be able to save her. Princess Huang still wanted to say something but was pulled over by Fang Chen. He glanced at the injury on Princess Huang's chest and said, "Your injury isn't serious. I have some healing pills here. You can consume them." Inadvertently, Fang Chen saw that her snow-white skin was dyed red by blood. Princess Huang's body trembled slightly. She seemed to have sensed Fang Chen's scorching gaze and directly lowered her head. Her cheeks were a little red from embarrassment. "At our level, do we still need to care about such things?" Fang Chen said sternly. If he wanted to see, he could completely see through Princess Huang's robes and see her delicate body. However, at their level, only by transcending would they be able to live forever. Women were merely pink skeletons. Hearing this, Princess Huang was a little embarrassed, but she finally returned to normal. "Sorry, I lost my composure." Princess Huang said apologetically. After consuming the healing pill given by Fang Chen, the blood on her chest had dried up. She took out a new robe and draped it over her body. Continue. In the outside world, within the Soaring Phoenix Manor. After the Soaring Phoenix Manor Lord left Annihilation City, he had been tracking the aura left behind by Fang Chen. Although the latter was very careful, he still couldn't escape the eyes of the Soaring Phoenix Manor Lord. Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range? When he arrived at the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range, he stopped in his tracks and pondered. Princess Huang entered the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range. It was said that she wanted to explore the ruins inside. Coincidentally, the murderer also entered. Was there such a coincidence? Could it be? The Lord of the Flying Phoenix Prefecture suddenly thought of something. His face instantly turned gloomy, and his pitch-black eyes emitted an extremely violent energy. Boom, boom, boom. A terrifying aura engulfed heaven and earth. He looked up and saw through the void, looking into the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range. Soaring Phoenix Manor Lord. In the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range, a beast emperor shrouded in a golden luster had killed all the cultivators that entered the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range. He suddenly raised his head and confronted the Soaring Phoenix Manor Lord. Its voice was filled with monstrous anger. My clan and you have minded our own business. What do you mean by this? The Soaring Phoenix Manor Lord sneered. The sinner of the Soaring Phoenix Manor has escaped into the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range. I want to capture and kill him. Impudent. The Beast Emperor was enraged. His violent aura soared into the sky. Instantly, sand and stones flew everywhere. Chapter 3784. The Beast Emperor was powerful and ruled over the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range. A long time ago, when the Lord of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion had just become an invincible sage, he had invaded the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range and fought with the Beast Emperor. However, the Beast Emperor had the advantage in the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range and defeated the Lord of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion with a slight advantage. From then on, the Flying Phoenix Mansion's mansion master never mentioned anything about the Flying Phoenix Mountain Range again. Furthermore, the Flying Phoenix Mansion no longer invaded. After so many years, the Lord of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion attacked in anger. The Beast Emperor was no longer the Beast Emperor of the past. His strength was even more terrifying and the aura he released was even more earth-shattering. However, at this moment, the Lord of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion couldn't care less. The murderer of Huang Tian had escaped into the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range. He had to kill him no matter what. Anyone who tried to stop him would be an enemy of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion. Beast Emperor, are you going to stop me? The Lord of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion threw out a punch. A terrifying aura shot up into the sky as he stared at the Beast Emperor with his dark eyes. If possible, he didn't want to fight with the Beast Emperor. After all, even if he was confident that he could defeat the Beast Emperor, the final result would be a lose-lose situation. You've forgotten our agreement. The Beast Emperor stared at the Lord of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion and said coldly. As the Beast Emperor of the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range, this was his territory. He wouldn't allow anyone to invade, not even the Lord of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion. Kill. The Beast Emperor attacked and fought with the Lord of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion. Rumble. A deafening sound echoed in the sky. The battle between the two peak experts shook the entire Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range. At this moment, in the deepest part of the Soaring Phoenix Mountain Range, Fang Chen was healing Princess Phoenix. What's going on? After Fang Chen helped Princess Huang to sit on the ground, he suddenly heard a trembling sound coming from the mountain range. His body staggered a little. He abruptly raised his head and looked outside the canyon with a hint of worry in his eyes. I'm fine. Princess Phoenix tidied her clothes and calmed down. She then said, the Lord of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion is fighting with the Beast Emperor. Fang Chen was stunned. He hadn't expected the manor head of the Flying Phoenix Manor to chase after him so quickly. Moreover, in order to track him down, the manor head didn't hesitate to engage in battle with the Beast Emperor. However, you don't have to worry. The Beast Emperor is very strong. Countless years ago, the Flying Phoenix Palace's Palace Lord had invaded this place, but he was defeated by the Beast Emperor in the end. Princess Phoenix said. If the Flying Phoenix Prefecture Master wants to surpass the Beast Emperor and come here, he would need at least a month's time. This period of time was enough for them to take away the Sky Dragon Sovereign's heart. Whoosh! Fang Chen took a deep breath as a sense of urgency emerged in his heart. How are your injuries? Princess Huang said. 3 days later, we will continue to advance. The location of the Heavenly Dragon Sovereign's heart was filled with danger. Even if Princess Phoenix understood the situation, it would still be very difficult for her to set foot there. Not long ago, she was injured because of this. 3 days' time, to a 5 elements sacred realm martial artist, was just a flick of a finger. Princess Huang's injuries had already healed. During this period, Fang Chen had also been exploring the core of the canyon, trying to find the exact location of the Heavenly Dragon Sovereign's heart. Follow behind me. This time, Princess Huang was full of confidence. After all, after experiencing an injury, she had some understanding in her heart. Deng deng deng. Step by step, Princess Huang's footsteps were very steady. As time passed, an excited smile appeared on her face. Finally, after continuing to advance for a period of time, they stopped in front of a stone door. We have already advanced 99 steps. Princess Huang reminded, as far as I know, as long as we can take the 100th step, we will be able to open the stone door and see the Sky Dragon Sovereign's heart. However, this step is extremely dangerous. If we are not careful, our souls will scatter. Let me try. Suddenly, Fang Chen, who had been silent all this time, spoke. Without waiting for Princess Huang to speak, he took a step forward and directly arrived in front of the stone door. Be careful. Princess Huang's voice came from behind. However, at this moment, a terrifying light emerged from Fang Chen's body. Buzz! 5 types of terrifying energy instantly erupted from the ground and entangled Fang Chen's body. This is 5 elements origin energy. Seeing this scene, Princess Huang's face changed drastically, as if she had thought of a legend. Be careful, this is the 5 elements origin energy. It will destroy the source of power in your body. Boom boom boom. The 5 elements origin energy crazily drilled into Fang Chen's body, wanting to destroy his source of power. However, out of Princess Huang's expectations, 4 of the origin energy were absorbed by Fang Chen in the blink of an eye. Only the last origin energy was destroying his body. This. Princess Huang's eyes widened, her heart was filled with shock. Her master was from a primitive clan. Since young, her talent was extraordinary and her cultivation environment was incomparably advantageous. However, she had only comprehended 3 origins. Until now, she had only heard from her master that there were people who had comprehended 4 origins in the primitive clan. However, to gather 5 origins in one body only existed in legends. Now, she saw with her own eyes that the man in front of her had comprehended 4 origins. Phew! She heaved a sigh of relief. 4 of the 5 elemental origin energies had been absorbed by Fang Chen, leaving behind only the wood elemental origin energies, which couldn't cause any substantial harm to him. This also meant that he had successfully taken the 100th step and could see the heart of the Sky Dragon Sovereign. Sure enough, in just a moment, the wood origin energy was suppressed by Fang Chen. Whoosh! Fang Chen opened his eyes. The blood in his body was restless. The cries of the vermilion bird dissipated with the wind. Dong! The stone door slowly opened. Rays of light shot out in all directions. A suffocating aura assaulted their nostrils. Fang Chen and Princess Huang were almost suppressed. Fortunately, this force wasn't directed at the 2 of them. After countless years, someone has finally opened the stone door. They heard a melodious ancient voice. Without thinking, they knew that this sentence came from Sky Dragon Supreme. Sky Dragon Supreme. Fang Chen was shaken, and quickly stepped through the stone door. Suddenly, he saw a blood-red heart sitting on top of a stone pillar. Princess Huang followed closely behind and walked in. Heart. After seeing the heart, Princess Huang screamed in excitement. Junior greets Sky Dragon Supreme. The 2 cupped their fists. This was Sky Dragon Supreme's heart. It contained endless power. The 2 of them didn't dare to be careless. My heart contains my life's work. Those who are fated to come here must be from the Chaos World. I hope that my inheritance can help the people of the Chaos World to escape the great calamity. Heavenly Dragon Sovereign's words caused Fang Chen to be greatly shocked. Obviously, Sky Dragon Supreme had long expected that the Chaos World would seek a breakthrough. He also expected that the Origin World would frantically expand and even annex the Chaos World. Therefore, he had used some kind of trick to hide the heart here. Chapter 3785. The heart of the Sky Dragon Supreme was sealed on the stone platform. Fang Chen saw the trembling heart in the light. At this moment, the perfect bloodline in his body was uncontrollably agitated, and the smell of blood filled the air. Not good. Fang Chen exclaimed inwardly as he forcefully controlled his perfect bloodline. He was shocked. He never thought that the heart of the Sky Dragon Supreme would be so powerful. Just by approaching it, the killing power hidden in the perfect bloodline was drawn out, causing the bloodline in his body to become chaotic. If he didn't control it, his life would be in danger. Vermilion Bird Bloodline. Fang Chen didn't panic in the face of danger. He activated the thin Vermilion Bird Bloodline, and the vast Vermilion Bird power condensed into a huge Vermilion Bird Phantom. The Vermilion Bird Phantom spread its wings and soared. It opened its mouth and spat out scorching flames, exuding a supreme divine might. In an instant, the restless perfect bloodline was suppressed. Fang Chen's expression returned to normal as he breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, the heart stopped beating, and the perfect bloodline calmed down. Vermilion Bird Bloodline? The voice of the Sky Dragon Supreme resounded from the heart. Obviously, he never thought that the Vermilion Bird Bloodline, one of the 4 great ancient divine beasts, would actually appear in this era, and in Fang Chen's body. After all, having the perfect bloodline was already the strongest potential in countless years. He actually obtained the Vermilion Bird Bloodline, and most importantly, made the 2 strongest bloodlines compatible. What an interesting person. The Sky Dragon Supreme muttered to himself, their choice is right. This sentence left Fang Chen scratching his head. From his words, it was obvious that he knew about the crisis of the Chaos World, and also knew about the plan of the Great Sovereign and the others. Fang Chen suddenly had a bold guess. Was the Sky Dragon Supreme one of the masterminds behind this? However, just as he was pondering, the voice of the Sky Dragon Supreme sounded again. You can refine my heart, but you have to agree to a request of this seat. Please speak, Senior. Fang Chen hurriedly cupped his fists and asked. That was the heart of the Sky Dragon Supreme. If he could refine it, his strength would soar again, and he might even touch the threshold of the supremacy. Not to mention one request, he would agree to 10 requests without hesitation. The person behind you should be the disciple of the primitive race, right? After you refine my heart, bring her to the cliff of death and search for the Ghost Emperor's ghost artifact. Hearing this, Fang Chen was stunned. Death's Edge, ghost artifact, he was all too familiar with these 2 words. He still remembered that when he was in the dragon-slaying cave, the great demon in the ancient mansion had requested him to go to the Death Cliff and stop the monster race's ancestor and sword lunatic from obtaining the Ghost Emperor's ghost artifact. And now, the Sky Dragon Sovereign had actually asked him to head to the Death Cliff to search for a ghost artifact. After obtaining the ghost artifact, absorb the Devil's Spring within it. It can help you completely refine my heart. Sky Dragon Supreme continued. After that, let her bring the ghost artifact back to the primitive race. Princess Huang, who was behind Fang Chen, quietly listened to the instructions of the Sky Dragon Supreme. Although she was puzzled as to why she had to bring the ghost artifact back to the primitive race, she still nodded and agreed. Senior, although my master is a member of the primitive race, I have never been there. Moreover, I heard from my master that unless one has the primitive bloodline, no one can enter the primitive race, so, she was a little embarrassed. It wasn't that she didn't want to do it, but that she didn't have the qualifications to enter the primitive race. You can rest assured about this. When you bring the ghost artifact, they will naturally take you in. Sky Dragon Supreme said. As for the reason, he didn't say much. Since that's the case, Senior, please rest assured. This junior will definitely fulfill Senior's last wish. Princess Huang said. She turned her head to look at Fang Chen. The latter opened his mouth, looking like he wanted to say something, but hesitated. "Do you have something to say?" "To tell you the truth." Fang Chen cupped his fists. "Once, as a member of the devil-devouring clan, I sneaked into the dragon-slaying cave and fought with the demonic beasts. From the ancestral hall of the clan, I accidentally entered an ancient mansion. There, I obtained some opportunities and received the inheritance of the country of blood. However, I also encountered some difficulties. Under that ancient mansion, a world-shaking great demon was suppressed. After he awakened, he captured me and threw me under the ground. The reason why I was able to come out alive was because I agreed to his request to go to the Death Cliff to stop the Ghost Emperor's people from finding the ghost artifact and bring it back to him. If Princess Huang brought the ghost artifact back to the primitive race, how was he going to explain it to the world-shaking great demon? Sky Dragon Supreme coldly snorted. He was very displeased at the mention of the world-shaking great demon. That despicable and shameless villain, ignore him. Sky Dragon Supreme said in disdain. Just do as I say. As for that guy, after you refine my heart, even if you give him 100 guts, he won't dare to touch you. Fang Chen was curious. Why did Sky Dragon Supreme call the world-shaking great demon a despicable and shameless villain? What exactly happened back then? Was the world-shaking great demon from the primal chaos world? Why did his attitude towards him change when he discovered that he had the perfect bloodline? A series of doubts surfaced in his mind. However, Sky Dragon Supreme did not answer. The heart on the stone platform flickered with multicolored light as it gradually floated up and slowly came before Fang Chen. Sky Dragon Supreme's voice once again came from the heart. "Young man, I may not be able to save the primal chaos world, but even if I die, I still want to do my part for the primal chaos world." Hearing this, Fang Chen sighed. Even someone as strong as a Supreme was so powerless in the face of the primal chaos world's crisis. Could he really succeed? At this moment, his heart wavered as he doubted himself like never before. Since ancient times, generations of powerhouses had entered the origin world one after another to fight for a chance of survival for the primal chaos world. However, in the end, they all fell. Even Sky Dragon Supreme died in the hands of the devouring fiend patriarch. Was Supreme Fu Jian also dead? Were the plotters hiding behind the scenes also not confident? Sensing Fang Chen's emotional fluctuations, the heart trembled as a cool aura drilled into Fang Chen's mind, instantly pulling him back from his thoughts. Don't think too much. In this life, the most important thing is to believe in yourself. Only the strongest belief is invincible. Only the strongest belief is invincible. I can sense an unprecedented conviction from you, a conviction that can allow you to reach the 9 heavens supremacy realm. Sky Dragon Supreme said, as long as you can step into the primal chaos realm, with your perfect bloodline and the bloodline of the ancient divine beast Vermilion Bird, you should be able to save the primal chaos world. However, Sky Dragon Supreme pondered for a moment, then said, as an experienced person, I advise you not to try to break through to the primal chaos realm before you complete the 5 elemental origins. This was because he knew better than anyone how terrifying it was to combine the 5 elemental origins. Chapter 3786. Head to the Cliff of Death and bring the ghost artifact back to the primitive race. Those were the last words of the Sky Dragon Supreme. Although Fang Chen didn't understand the meaning of those words, he had already decided to help Princess Phoenix to obtain the ghost artifact. Buzz. When the Sky Dragon Supreme finished his last words, the entire core of the valley was filled with a melodious aura. Fang Chen stood there without moving, but he could feel the blood in his body circulating crazily. Relax your body and begin the refinement. Princess Phoenix's voice rang out from behind. Instantly, Fang Chen closed his eyes and spread out his hands, walking towards the stone platform. Soon, he arrived before the stone platform and gently touched the heart on the stone platform. Buzz. The instant he made contact with the Sky Dragon Sovereign's heart, the entire world seemed to have dimmed as an extremely frightening power crazily drilled into his body. At this moment, Fang Chen's face was malevolent, as though he could collapse at any moment. Seeing this, Princess Phoenix vigilantly looked at the surroundings, protecting him. At the same time, the Flying Phoenix Manor Master and the Beast Emperor, who were fighting fiercely in the soaring Phoenix mountain range, also sensed this aura at the same time. Their faces changed drastically. The Beast Emperor's face was malevolent, and he was extremely furious. Damn it! It roared towards the sky, clenching its claws into a fist and punching out. An incomparably powerful force forced the flying Phoenix Mana Master to retreat. After that, it turned around and rapidly flew towards the depths of the mountain range. Trying to leave. The flying Phoenix Mana Master naturally wouldn't let the Beast Emperor do as he wished. With a flash, he caught up to the Beast Emperor with his fastest speed, and once again engaged in a battle with it, obstructing it. Flying Phoenix Mana Master. The Beast Emperor's huge eyes glared at the flying Phoenix Mana Master furiously. It coldly said, "If you dare to stop me, I swear that I will kill everyone in the flying Phoenix Mana from now on." This was a threat. To an expert like the flying Phoenix Mana Master, he naturally wouldn't be intimidated by such a threat. "TMPH, do you think I'm afraid of you?" The flying Phoenix Mana Master sneered. His daughter, Princess Phoenix, had also entered the soaring Phoenix mountain range in search of the legendary ruins. Now that there was such a huge commotion in the core of the mountain range, Princess Phoenix must have obtained it. Naturally, he would spare no effort to help Princess Phoenix and delay the Beast Emperor. As long as they could delay her, no one in the entire soaring Phoenix mountain range would be able to stop Princess Huang. Thinking of this, the Lord of Flying Phoenix Prefecture stomped his feet, and his entire body stuck close to the ground as he flew in front of the Beast Emperor. His two fists shook violently, and instantly, the earth and mountains shook. Seeing this, the Beast Emperor was enraged. Roar, roar, roar. The Beast Emperor roared furiously as its body grew larger and larger. "Flying Phoenix Prefecture Lord, you forced me to do this." In the blink of an eye, the body of the Beast Emperor grew to a height of over 10,000 meters. It looked down at the soaring Phoenix Mana Lord with disdain. Lifting its gigantic foot, it stomped downwards. Before it, the soaring Phoenix Mana Lord was as tiny as an ant. Die. The Beast Emperor had unleashed a forbidden sacred ability. Contained within its 10,000 feet tall body was an unparalleled power that could destroy a part of the world. At this moment, even the expression of the Flying Phoenix Mansion's Mansion Master was somewhat grave. "How is this possible?" he cried out involuntarily. At this moment, he finally recognized the origin of the Beast Emperor. "You're from a primitive race?" The Flying Phoenix Prefecture Lord was greatly shocked. He did not expect that the Beast Emperor that had always lived in the soaring Phoenix mountain range was actually from a primitive race. At this moment, the aura emitted from the Beast Emperor's body caused his heart to palpitate. Especially the Flying Phoenix Prefecture Lord, he felt a crushing pressure from the depths of his bloodline. In the entire origin world, other than the primitive races, there was no other bloodline that could suppress the devil-devouring bloodline. That's not right. However, the Flying Phoenix Prefecture Lord soon thought of a legend. He looked up at the towering Beast Emperor and said eerily, "You're a traitor of a primitive race." Thinking of this, the Flying Phoenix Prefecture Lord let out a sigh of relief. In the past, there was a legend that spread in the origin world. A traitor appeared in a powerful primitive race and was banished by the primitive race. Now, he finally understood that the traitor was the Beast Emperor. Die. The Beast Emperor was enraged. It twisted its gigantic body and attacked. Catcher. What the Beast Emperor used was a forbidden mystique of the primitive races. This small world was unable to withstand the might of the forbidden mystique. Therefore, when he used it, the void of the soaring Phoenix mountain range directly shattered, and the Flying Phoenix Mana Lord also disappeared without a trace in the shattered space. In the depths of the canyon. Not good. You have to refine it faster. Princess Phoenix sensed something and hurriedly urged. Her charming face was filled with anxiety. Her beautiful eyes flickered as she stared at Fang Chen. She couldn't wait to help him personally. However, she knew that only Fang Chen could refine the Sky Dragon Supreme's heart. No one else could help him. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Fang Chen's 4 origin energies revolved around his body. His hands were touching the Sky Dragon Supreme's heart, and he was frantically absorbing the energy within. As time passed, Fang Chen's refinement gradually came to an end. Because of the Sky Dragon Supreme's recognition, the perfect bloodline, and the vermilion bird bloodline in his body, Fang Chen's refining speed was much faster than ordinary people. An hour later, when the last trace of energy was absorbed by Fang Chen, the heart continued to shrink. In the end, it turned into a crystal-clear pearl and fell into Fang Chen's hand. Dong, dong, dong. The energy in Fang Chen's body continued to soar. His entire body was undergoing earth-shattering changes. Let's go. Seeing this scene, Princess Phoenix pulled Fang Chen and rapidly left the depths of the canyon through the dark tunnel, heading towards the other side of the soaring Phoenix mountain range. Boom. A moment after they left, the Beast Emperor rushed over. His huge eyes swept across the surroundings, but he couldn't find any trace of Fang Chen and Princess Phoenix. Damn it! The Beast Emperor roared, exceptionally furious. Just then, the Mana Master of the Soaring Phoenix Manor appeared from the shattered void. His clothes were somewhat tattered. Clearly, he was injured. Where's Princess Phoenix? His powerful consciousness spread out, but he couldn't find Princess Phoenix. He frowned, as though he had thought of something. Monopolize. His face turned gloomy as his anger soared. At this moment, he understood that Princess Phoenix had monopolized the treasure in the ruins, and he had been used from the beginning. Damn it! His anger soared, but he had to face the wrath of the Beast Emperor. It's all because of you. The Beast Emperor had been living in seclusion for many years. Firstly, it was to avoid being hunted by the primitive tribes. Secondly, it was to refine the Sky Dragon Supreme's heart. He knew this better than anyone. If he wanted to reach the peak and step into the legendary Primal Chaos Supreme realm, he could only refine the Sky Dragon Supreme's heart. However, who would have thought that someone else would be the first to do so? He vented all his anger on the Mana Master of the Soaring Phoenix Manor. His towering figure suddenly moved, shattering the void and causing the earth to shake. The two great experts once again engaged in an intense battle. On this day, the entire Soaring Phoenix Manor could feel an austere killing intent. Some people said that there was a battle between peak experts in the Soaring Phoenix mountain range. Some said that the legendary Beast Emperor was enraged and was going on a massacre. In short, everyone in the Soaring Phoenix Manor was in a state of panic. Chapter 3787. Outside the Soaring Phoenix mountain range, on a towering mountain peak. The governor of the Soaring Phoenix mansion was livid. His heart was filled with anger. His dark eyes stared straight ahead as he stood motionlessly on the peak. Everyone in the world thought that he, the Flying Phoenix Manor Lord, had a good daughter who even became a disciple of a supreme expert. However, only he knew that Princess Phoenix was merely his adopted daughter. He took Princess Phoenix as his goddaughter because he saw her great potential and thought for the future of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion. However, who would have thought that the daughter he treated as his own daughter had been using him and betraying him? Damn it! As the governor of the Origin World and one of the top experts among the Invincible Saints, he had been scheming against others for so many years. Now, he was being schemed against by the person closest to him. The governor of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion was furious. No matter who you are, no matter where you escape to, I will kill you with my own hands. On this day, there was chaos in the Soaring Phoenix Mansion. A piece of news was released from the city governor's mansion and everyone was shocked. What? Princess Huang is actually wanted? What is going on? Why did the city governor's mansion release the news that Princess Phoenix has betrayed the governor of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion? Oh my God, I don't believe that Princess Phoenix would betray him. A stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. All the martial artists were dumbfounded. They didn't know what had happened in the city governor's mansion. Why would the governor of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion issue such an order? At the same time, the major forces in the Soaring Phoenix Mansion were moving in the dark. They sent their experts to the surrounding manors to search for traces of Princess Phoenix. As for the murderer of Huang Tian, Fang Chen, the governor of the Soaring Phoenix Mansion would personally track him down. After crossing the Soaring Phoenix mountain range, the Ghost Mansion was on the other side. As far as the eye could see, it was vast and boundless, shrouded in darkness. Gloominess and terror was the main theme of this place. Fang Chen and Princess Huang stopped and looked into the distance. "This is the ghost mansion," Princess Phoenix said in a deep voice with a trace of worry on her face. After all, with her and Fang Chen's current strength, they couldn't fight with the governor of the soaring Phoenix Mansion. Especially Fang Chen. If his identity was exposed, the entire devouring demon clan of the origin world would besiege him. At that time, he would be in a difficult situation. Ghost Mansion, Fang Chen was stunned, and then he smiled bitterly. After coming out of the dragon-slaying cave, he had directly descended upon the soaring Phoenix Manor. Now that he had escaped death with great difficulty, he had come to the Ghost Manor. He still remembered the agreement he had made with the great devil in the dragon-slaying cave to kill all the devil devourers and suppress the 3 heroes of the Ghost Manor. Even the will projection of the Ghost Manor Lord had appeared and tried to stop Fang Chen. But in the end, not only did Fang Chen kill the Ghost Manor's 3 heroes right in front of the Ghost Manor Lord, he even destroyed the Ghost Manor Lord's will projection. The enmity between the Ghost Manor and the Ghost Manor had been thoroughly established. "Let's go," Fang Chen urged. Princess Huang's eyelashes twitched as her bright eyes looked at Fang Chen. She seemed to have noticed something. "Don't tell me that you also have a grudge with the Ghost Manor?" Fang Chen nodded and admitted with a bitter smile, "I killed the 3 heroes of the Ghost Manor." "What?" Princess Huang widened her eyes and her expression was a little strange. She didn't know how to describe Fang Chen. He killed the most outstanding genius of the soaring Phoenix Manor, Huang Tian, causing the entire soaring Phoenix Manor to be in a state of chaos. Now, she heard that he had killed the 3 heroes of the Ghost Manor. This made Princess Huang very shocked. Princess Huang smiled bitterly and shook her head. Not long after, the two disappeared into the darkness. The Ghost Manor was different from other manors. There was almost no day here, only darkness was eternal. According to legend, this was the place where the underworld used to be. Those who died would be reincarnated in the Ghost Manor. Of course, this was just a legend. Whether it was true or not, no one could verify it. But there was one thing that everyone was clear about, and that was the Ghost Manor Lord. He was an incomparably mysterious expert. The major manors that bordered the Ghost Manor were all extremely fearful of the Ghost Manor. Their expressions would change at the mere mention of the Ghost Manor. In fact, even the mansion masters were unwilling to approach the Ghost Manor. The Ghost Manor was a magical place. The people here cultivated the Ghost Tao, similar to the Ghost Emperor in the dragon-slaying cave. In the core area of the Ghost Manor, there was a bridge with no end in sight. It was called the Bridge of Helplessness. Crossing the Bridge of Helplessness, one could vaguely see the outline of an ancient castle. Usually, there was no trace of anything on the Bridge of Helplessness. But today, there were countless shadows moving around. One could vaguely feel a murderous intent in the air. Boom! Suddenly, an angry roar came from the ancient castle. Then, the shadows on the Bridge of Helplessness instantly prostrated themselves on the ground. The Ghost Manor Lord was furious. The world was shocked. "The person who killed the 3 heroes of my Ghost Manor is here." The Ghost Manor Lord's consciousness projection had seen Fang Chen and even fought with him. When Fang Chen had just stepped into the territory of the Ghost Manor, the Ghost Manor Lord had already sensed him. However, recently, he had been cultivating a peerless, remarkable ability. If he could succeed, he might be able to use it to step into the supremacy realm that he dreamed of. Therefore, he couldn't leave. His consciousness clone issued 9 orders, each of which was targeted at Fang Chen. Moreover, he had informed his subordinate ghost generals of Fang Chen's specific location. "Children, kill him for me." The Ghost Manor Lord let out an angry roar. Soon after, the ancient castle regained its calm. The shadows on the Bridge of Helplessness also disappeared. The territory of the Ghost Manor was silent. However, no one knew that this was the calm before the storm. 3 days later, Fang Chen and Princess Huang encountered the first group of assassins. They were located at the edge of the Ghost Manor's territory. After receiving the news, they immediately rushed over. Even if they couldn't kill Fang Chen, they had to buy time. "Brat, you killed the 3 heroes of my Ghost Manor. You're dead meat." There were a total of 3 people. The strongest was a 9th Order saint, while the other two were 8th order saints. Fang Chen's expression changed drastically. Realizing that his whereabouts had been exposed, he acted as fast as lightning, killing the 9th order saint in one blow. Seeing this, the remaining two 8th order saints gritted their teeth and burned their blood essence. Buy time. Their purpose was clear. They wanted to buy time and wait for the army to arrive. Let's end this quickly. Princess Huang also made her move. Her golden hair fluttered in the wind. Her delicate body suddenly moved. Countless golden lights flickered and blasted toward the two in an instant. Boom! The sound of an explosion rang out. Princess Huang's golden hair scattered on her shoulders. Let's go. After killing the three, Princess Huang and Fang Chen quickly left the wasteland. Not long after, a large number of people arrived. When they saw the three dead people, they were furious. Damned guy, how dare he be so arrogant in my ghost manor's territory? He's really courting death. Find him at all costs. I want to destroy him in body and soul. If I don't tear him into pieces, I won't be able to dispel the hatred in my heart. The ghost manor was very united and xenophobic. Now that an outsider had intruded and killed their people, they were completely enraged. Chapter 3788. Romance Chinese Network. After escaping from the soaring Phoenix Manor with great difficulty, they came to the ghost manor. Moreover, the ghost manor master's consciousness projection could sense Fang Chen's aura. Therefore, everyone in the ghost manor was chasing after Fang Chen and Princess Huang. That damned guy, he's too arrogant. He dared to kill the people of my ghost manor, he will die without a burial place. One after another, forces expressed that they would find Fang Chen even if they had to dig 3 feet into the ground. Everyone in the ghost manor hated Fang Chen to the bone. On a certain barren plain, Fang Chen and Princess Huang were hurriedly walking. They had disguised their identities and changed their faces. Some of the weaker members of the ghost manor couldn't recognize them, but if they encountered someone stronger, they would be able to see through their true appearance with a single glance. At this moment, Fang Chen couldn't help but curl his lips. What did you do in the dragon-slaying cave? Princess Huang was somewhat helpless. Killing the most outstanding genius of the soaring Phoenix Manor, Huang Tian, had already infuriated the flying Phoenix Manor Master and the entire soaring Phoenix Manor. However, he actually killed the 3 heroes of the Ghost Manor. She really couldn't imagine what this man had experienced in the dragon-slaying cave. Now, we have become rats that everyone wants to beat. We need to leave the Ghost Manor's territory as soon as possible. Otherwise, if we are intercepted by the Ghost Manor Master, our lives will be in danger. Princess Huang was slightly worried. Along the way, they had already experienced dozens of big and small battles. This was just the beginning. From the mouths of those people, they found out that a large number of experts were rushing over to intercept and kill them. Are you familiar with the Ghost Manor? Fang Chen asked. The Ghost Manor was very mysterious. Generally, there were very few outsiders. Therefore, in the origin world, very few people knew the detailed map of the Ghost Manor. Without a detailed map, they couldn't quickly leave the Ghost Manor's territory. Therefore, he could only ask Princess Huang for help. After all, the latter's master was from a primitive clan, so she might know something. I've followed my master to the Ghost Mansion before. However, that was a very long time ago. Princess Huang said in a deep voice, the place we are now should be the legendary ghost hunting plains. Not far from this plain, there is a canyon. Master. Master. With me. Master. Master wants me. Master and Ghost Manor. Hearing this, Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. He quickly said, no matter what, this is an opportunity. Lead the way. What they didn't know was, is. How. The Ghost Manor word if. God translation. Was. In the next moment, it opened its bloody mouth and roared into the sky. Instantly, countless cheetahs swarmed over like a beast tide on the ghost hunting plains. Children, the prey has appeared. The black leopard took the lead and chased after them with the cheetahs that looked like a beast tide. 3 days later. Fang Chen and Princess Huang could see the edge of the ghost hunting plains. They weren't far from the canyon that Princess Huang mentioned. "Hold on for a while," Princess Huang said in a low voice. In these few days, she didn't meet anyone from the ghost manor, which surprised her. Dong. Suddenly, Fang Chen frowned. He felt a heavy sound coming from the ground. "What's wrong?" Princess Huang asked. Fang Chen shook his head and continued to move forward. But after a while, he heard the strange sound coming from the ground again. This time, he stopped and pressed his hands on the ground. Earth origin energy emerged and carefully sensed the rhythm of the earth. Not good. A few seconds later, Fang Chen's face changed. He quickly got up and pulled Princess Huang. "The beast tide is approaching." As soon as his voice fell, black fog surged in the distant sky. The beast tide had arrived. "Stupid guy, this is my territory. It's ridiculous that you want to escape." A trembling voice spread in the void. Black Panther took the lead and rushed in front of Fang Chen and Princess Huang to stop them. Behind it, a dense pack of cheetahs charged forward. They opened their bloody mouths and roared at Fang Chen, their anger soaring to the sky. Fang Chen held the beheading spirit sword in his hand. Sword energy surged around his body. "You want to leave alive after killing people from my ghost manor?" Black Panther sneered. Since ancient times, no one had been able to leave alive after killing people from the ghost manor, not even an invincible saint. This guy in front of him actually dared to kill the 3 heroes of the ghost manor. The ghost manor lord personally ordered to kill him. If he could kill him, he would definitely be rewarded by the ghost manor lord. Thinking of this, Black Panther's eyes were filled with greed. He licked his dry lips and approached Fang Chen step by step. However, just as Fang Chen was about to fight, Princess Huang spoke. "Black Panther, do you still recognize this?" Princess Huang's small white hand turned over, and a quaint token suddenly appeared in her palm. Taking a closer look, the token was mottled, but one could vaguely see an ancient word engraved on it. This word seemed to have existed since ancient times, exuding an aura that made one's scalp tingle. "Huh!" When Black Panther saw the quaint token, his face instantly changed. "Why is this token in your hands?" Seeing Black Panther's expression, Princess Huang breathed a sigh of relief. "Since you recognize it, then you should know the meaning of this token, right? I want to leave the ghost manor with him. Are you going to stop us?" Black Panther fell into silence. His heart was in a dilemma. It could be seen that he was in pain and couldn't make a choice. Behind him, countless angry roars could be heard. The densely packed cheetahs had already entered a state of battle. However, there was a problem with Black Panther. Buzz. Princess Huang's palm rubbed the quaint token. The mottled ancient word suddenly flashed with a ray of light, followed by a thunderous voice that reverberated in the void. Hearing this voice, the Black Panther shook its huge head and looked at Princess Huang again. "Can you tell me where this token came from?" Black Panther asked. The killing intent on his body had already disappeared. "It was bestowed by Master," Princess Huang said. Black Panther was stunned and immediately bowed to Princess Huang. Then, he turned his head and roared a few times at the beast tide. The densely packed cheetahs reluctantly made way. "You guys leave quickly." Princess Huang put away the quaint token and quickly left the ghost hunting plains with Fang Chen. "Leader, why did you let them leave?" One of the cheetahs asked puzzledly, his eyes filled with unwillingness. They were only one step away from the ghost manor lord's reward, but the leader personally let them leave. All the cheetahs were puzzled. Why? Could it be that the leader wanted to betray the ghost manor? The ghost manor was different from other manors. They were very united. Betrayal was a serious crime in the ghost manor and everyone had the right to punish them. Chapter 3789. The Black Panther's actions were puzzling. The clansmen of the clan were also puzzled. Although they were from the Black Panther clan, they were also members of the ghost manor. Therefore, they should be united against a common enemy. However, they had already surrounded the murderer, so why did they let him go? Some clansmen asked. No matter what, they had to know the truth. Otherwise, once the ghost manor lord or other forces knew that they had let the enemy go, then, What awaited them would be the risk of their clan being exterminated. That token came from the primitive clan. The Black Panther's gong-sized eyes flickered with a strange light. In its mind, a scene from a long time ago appeared. The primitive clan had saved its life. If it wasn't for them, it would have fallen long ago, and it would be impossible for the Black Panther clan to flourish today. The clansmen were still puzzled. They didn't even know what the primitive clan was. However, the Black Panther didn't want to explain. Pass down the order. Seal off the entire mountain range. No one is allowed to barge in without permission. Give them enough time to escape. The Black Panther said in a deep voice. Although the clansmen were puzzled, they still had to obey the Black Panther's order. Soon, the mountain range was completely sealed off by the cheetah clan. No forces could enter. Rustle, rustle, rustle. In the mountain range, hurried footsteps could be heard. Princess Huang and Fang Chen were moving quickly. Why did the Black Panther clan let us go? Fang Chen asked doubtfully. Master once told me that if I encounter danger in the Ghost Manor's territory one day and encounter the cheetah clan, I can take out this token, Princess Huang said. In fact, there were also raging waves in her heart. It was simply unbelievable that her master could predict what would happen in the future. What? Fang Chen's eyes widened. He was incomparably shocked. Princess Huang's master was a member of the primitive clan. He gave the token to Princess Huang and even told her that she might encounter danger in the future. Didn't this mean that he knew that Princess Huang would encounter danger in the Ghost Manor long ago? Thinking of what he had experienced in the dragon-slaying cave, and the Tiger Venerable's disciple, the White Ape clan, and the Old White Ape, he once said that the primitive clan was paying attention to him. At that time, he didn't think too much. He could only think that the primitive clan was related to Venerable Fu Jian. The reason why they were paying attention to him might be because he had the perfect bloodline, and he was the only human who was responsible for saving the Chaos Realm. Suddenly, Fang Chen's heart trembled as a bold guess appeared in his mind. Could it be? His gaze when looking at Princess Huang became grave. If his guess was correct, then the primitive tribes were truly terrifying. Could it be that his entire life had been planned by someone? Was a chess piece of a chess piece? Ever since he had reincarnated into the origin world, Fang Chen had encountered many bizarre events, as well as ancient existences. For example, the Nether King, one of the 4 generals under Venerable Fu Jian, the Tiger Venerable's disciple, the Sky Dragon Venerable's heart, the White Ape clan, the Ghost Emperor, the Master of the Kingdom of Blood, and so on. In particular, the Old White Ape once told him that the Nether King wanted to bring the entire White Ape clan to the Chaos Realm, and this order came from the primitive clan. Why did the primitive clan want the entire White Ape clan to migrate? All the mysteries seemed to lie with the primitive clan. What are you thinking about? Princess Huang saw the change in Fang Chen's expression. She frowned and asked in a low voice. Nothing. Fang Chen shook his head and gradually calmed down. One thing for sure was that the primitive clan, the White Ape clan, had no hostility towards him. Otherwise, he would have died in the dragon-slaying cave. Since he couldn't figure it out, why waste time on this? One day, when his strength reached a certain level, he would figure out these mysteries. He might even be able to face the primitive clan. At that time, all the mysteries would come to light. Whoosh! Fang Chen took a deep breath, glanced at Princess Huang, and said, "How far are we from the Ghost Manor?" "After walking out of this mountain range, we still have to pass through another mountain," Princess Huang said. Swoosh! However, just as the two were about to leave, the earth suddenly shook, and an earthy yellow aura spread. When the two reacted, there was a heavy vibration coming from under the earth. Not good. Fang Chen realized that something was wrong. With a shout, he brought Princess Huang and quickly fled. He had already comprehended the origin of Earth to a certain extent, and had also comprehended the rhythm of the Earth. Therefore, he immediately sensed the killing intent coming from under the earth. Whoosh! 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 Their speed soared, but there was an angry roar coming from under the earth. "You can't escape." The voice reverberated in the void. A behemoth broke out of the earth, bringing with it endless dark power, and rushed toward Fang Chen. Boom! Feeling a chill on his back, Fang Chen turned around and slashed out with his sword. Invincible sword technique, unrivaled in the world. Thousands of sword lights appeared in the sky, forming an impenetrable sword net. The 4 origin forces were circulating crazily, covering the sword net. Boom! Under the effect of the 4 origin forces, the power of the sword net continued to soar. Fang Chen's perfect bloodline was also released crazily. At this moment, his combat strength had reached the peak. Kill! He slashed out with his sword, and a hole was cut in the void. The behemoth that was rushing over seemed to have felt the power of the sword. It twisted its body, barely dodging the sharp sword. Then, it stretched out its big claws, wanting to crush Fang Chen's head. Go! Fang Chen shouted at Princess Huang. The latter didn't pretend and instantly retreated. Without any worries, Fang Chen attacked with all his strength. Buzz! The vermilion bird bloodline spread out, instantly filling the void. The behemoth gradually revealed its true appearance. It was a demon-corroding ant. On its ferocious face, there was a look of surprise. Divine beast bloodline? Obviously, it felt that the bloodline in its body was strongly suppressed. After sensing it carefully, it said in a hoarse voice, "I didn't expect that in this era, the bloodline of the divine beast vermilion bird would appear." The ancient divine beast vermilion bird was the king of all beasts. Its bloodline naturally suppressed all demon clans. The demon-corroding ant was known as the ancestor of all demons. It was the strongest demonic cultivator among the demon clans. Its clan could corrode heaven and earth, but in the face of the vermilion bird bloodline, it still trembled. If the divine beast vermilion bird was here, I might be afraid. Unfortunately, it has already fallen. The demon-corroding ant sneered. A mere human who obtained a little bit of the vermilion bird bloodline wants to block my attack. What a joke. Chapter 3790. Romance website. Demon-corroding ants. They were creatures from ancient times, a supertribe that suppressed an era. At their peak, the demon-corroding ants could rule the entire chaotic realm. Everyone trembled in fear at the mention of their name. Even the supremes of the human race were helpless against them. That period of time was known as the demon-corroding age. The demon-corroding ants were extremely cruel, causing the human race to revolt. In the end, a prodigy of the human race was born. He was an extremely dazzling existence. He reigned as king for 9 lifetimes. In order to break the limit, he reincarnated and was constantly reborn. He sought his own Tao in the mortal world and experienced the difficulties of life. In the end, he reincarnated for 10 lifetimes and stepped into the legendary realm. With his own strength, he suppressed the demon-corroding ants and completely sealed them in the dark void. As time passed, the chaotic storm continued to shine brightly. The sealed demon-corroding ants were eventually destroyed and the demon-corroding age came to an end. This peak expert was known as the 10th ancestor. It meant that he reigned as king for 10 lifetimes and saved the chaotic realm. He was worshipped by all. What surprised Fang Chen was that there were demon-corroding ants in the origin world. They seemed to be the remnants of the demon-corroding ants that had escaped from the dark void. The demon-corroding ant's huge body stood in front of Fang Chen. It emitted a terrifying demonic qi that caused Fang Chen's mind to tremble. Fortunately, his primordial spirit had already reached the nascent soul level and could barely withstand the demon-corroding ant's primordial spirit attack. The vermilion bird bloodline around Fang Chen rippled. An extremely terrifying power instantly filled the air. The demon-corroding ant's body trembled involuntarily. The blood in its body instantly froze. The fear that came from the depths of its primordial spirit made its heart uneasy. However, it knew very well that the ancient divine beast vermilion bird had already fallen. The human in front of it had only obtained a trace of the vermilion bird bloodline by chance. There was nothing to fear. Boom! The antennae above the demon-corroding ant's head pierced through the void and shot toward Fang Chen. Seeing this, Fang Chen's expression changed drastically and he hurriedly dodged. The demon-corroding ant's antennae exploded at the spot where he had been standing, sending shockwaves into the sky. Wang! Fang Chen was in a sorry state, but at least he managed to dodge the demon-corroding ant's attack. The The demon corroding ant did not pursue him. Instead, it was adjusting its condition. The reason it attacked Fang Chen with its antennae was to force the latter to be unable to activate the vermilion bird bloodline. Otherwise, the existence of the vermilion bird bloodline would definitely have a huge impact on him. The vermilion bird was known as an ancient god-beast. It was the pinnacle existence of the monster race. Although it had fallen countless years ago, its bloodline naturally suppressed all other bloodlines of the monster race. This was a fear that came from the depths of his bloodline. Even though the corrosive demon ants knew that the person in front of them was not the ancient vermilion bird, they could not help but feel fearful. Dong dong dong. Its feet continued to stomp on the ground. A terrifying power spread out through the rhythm of the earth. The entire mountain range seemed to be lifted by it. In the distant horizon, many members of the cheetah tribe were sealing off every entrance to the mountain range. Suddenly, they felt the ground tremble. Their expressions changed as all their gazes focused on the Black Panther. The Black Panther's pitch-black eyes pierced through the void and looked into the distance. Corrosive demon ants. Its expression was extremely gloomy. In a flash, it turned into a black light and shot out. In the blink of an eye, it was beside Fang Chen. Stop! The Black Panther roared and attacked furiously. Its claws clenched into a fist and punched at the corrosive demon ants. The latter's antennae bent and burst out with a dazzling power. It collided with the Black Panther's fist. The earth shook and the void cracked. A terrifying shockwave destroyed the entire mountain range in an instant. Black Panther, are you trying to stop me? Seeing the Black Panther arrive, the corrosive demon ants said coldly. Among the monster race, the corrosive demon ants had once ruled over the chaotic realm. They were the absolute masters of this world. The cheetah tribe was just a lowly tribe. If it had not been severely injured and caused its cultivation level to drop, it could have destroyed the cheetah tribe with one look. It had been sleeping underground and had long sensed the presence of the cheetah tribe in this area. It had been using the blood of the cheetah tribe to recover its strength. The tribe that disappeared for no reason was devoured by you, wasn't it? The Black Panther spoke in human language. "Mph, it's your fortune to be devoured by me. You should be proud." The corrosive demon ant sneered. It had awakened today not only to devour the cheetah tribe, but also for a more important reason. It had reached an unspeakable deal with the Ghost Manor Lord. It would assist the Ghost Manor Lord to expand his territory. In return, he would receive endless cultivation resources and the help of all forces in the Ghost Manor territory. It would not be enough to rebuild the corrosive demon ants on its own. Although my tribe is lowly, we will not be punished and cursed like the corrosive demon ants, forever unable to use our special ability, the Black Panther said coldly. Hearing this, Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. Forever unable to use their special ability after being punished and cursed by the heavens? Could it be that the corrosive demon ants' behavior during their rule over the chaotic realm was too cruel and caused the heavens to be displeased and punish them? Thinking of this, Fang Chen could not help but be startled. He felt more and more that the chaotic realm was mysterious. You're courting death. Obviously, being punished and cursed by the heavens was the most painful thing for the corrosive demon ants and the last thing they wanted to face. The Black Panther had thoroughly angered the corrosive demon ants in front of him. It roared at the sky, the antennae on its head wildly releasing the power of thunder and lightning. In an instant, the sky was filled with thunder, lightning flashed, and thunder roared, enveloping the entire mountain range. At this time, the mountain range had been reduced to ruins by the fierce battle between the two powerhouses. Many of the cheetah tribe members were also affected to some extent. Looking at its clansmen lying in pools of blood, the Black Panther fell into a frenzy. It faced the terrifying thunder and lightning and fought fiercely with the corrosive demon ants. I'll help you. Fang Chen recovered from his shock and shouted loudly. Perhaps he could not help the Black Panther much even if he attacked with all his strength, but the vermilion bird bloodline would definitely have an unexpected effect. Vermilion bird bloodline. Under the full activation of the perfect bloodline, the thin vermilion bird bloodline also circulated wildly. Traces of fire burst out from Fang Chen's body and swept through the void in an instant. Buzz. The Black Panther and the corrosive demon ants felt the suppression of their bloodlines at the same time. The Black Panther was surprised and quickly realized that the pressure on its body had decreased sharply. On the other hand, the corrosive demon ant seemed to be in great pain. Vermilion bird bloodline. The Black Panther exclaimed and looked at Fang Chen in surprise. Then, it quickly entered the battlefield and bombarded the corrosive demon ants, not giving them any chance to breathe. Chapter 3791. Although the vermilion bird bloodline was very thin, it contained the aura of an ancient divine beast that was unmatched. Therefore, when Fang Chen activated the vermilion bird bloodline, a terrifying power instantly spread out. The pressure on Black Panther was reduced, and the demon corroding ant's bloodline was suppressed. The vermilion bird was an ancient divine beast, and its bloodline was the bane of all demon bloodlines. Even the demon corroding ant was no exception. It was in great pain, and its face was hideous as it struggled. It looked up to the sky and roared angrily. Crack! It used all its strength and finally broke free from the suppression of the vermilion bird bloodline. What welcomed it was a violent attack from Black Panther. Rumble. If it was the demon corroding ant at its peak, Black Panther naturally wouldn't dare to attack like this. However, it was different now. It was the age of chaos, and the entire world had changed. The demon corroding ant was severely injured and almost died. It took a long time for it to recover, but its realm had already fallen and its strength was greatly reduced. Under the joint efforts of Fang Chen and Black Panther, the demon corroding ant was gradually suppressed. Damn it! The demon corroding ant roared angrily. You dare to join forces against me? You're courting death. Although the demon corroding ant had been threatening Fang Chen and Black Panther, they didn't care at all. As long as they could kill the demon corroding ant, everything was negotiable. Invincible sword technique. While Fang Chen activated his vermilion bird bloodline, he also unleashed his invincible sword technique. Dazzling sword radiance descended from the sky. Streaks of gigantic sword shadows formed a sword net, trapping the demon corroding ants within. End this quickly! Black Panther shouted. The commotion here was too big, and it wouldn't take long for the Ghost Mansion Lord to be alerted. Once the Ghost Mansion Lord knew that Fang Chen was here, he would definitely come personally. At that time, he would have no way to escape. Fang Chen also thought of this, but the demon corroding ant was too strong. It would be difficult for him to escape. I'll stop him. You go first. Suddenly, Black Panther roared. Hearing this, Fang Chen was stunned and hesitated. However, Princess Huang pulled him and said, "The demon corroding ant's target is you. As long as you leave, the demon corroding ant will not fight Black Panther to the death." Fang Chen curled his lips in dissatisfaction. He had a bold plan in mind, and that was to suppress the demon corroding ants. It would be great if he could make use of such a powerful combat strength. He could sense that as long as the vermilion bird bloodline was used properly, in addition to the Black Panther's cooperation, they would definitely be able to suppress the corrosive demonic ants. However, it would take time. However, the Ghost Manor's Lord wouldn't give him time. Let's go. Fang Chen pondered for a moment and then made his decision. The Black Panther's body expanded and turned into a gigantic creature. It stood in front of the demon corroding ants, blocking them. Scram! The antennae on the demon corroding ant's head pierced viciously into Black Panther's body. Black blood spurted out and Black Panther's face contorted in pain. However, he did not sit still and wait for his death. His sharp claws viciously grabbed the demon corroding ant's antennae, intending to break them. And at this time, Fang Chen and Princess Huang had already left this mountain range and were about to leave. Trying to escape. The demon corroding ant went into a frenzy when it saw the two of them trying to escape. What happened next was beyond everyone's expectations. The demon corroding ant's gigantic body trembled and a small black hole suddenly appeared on its abdomen. The small hole squirmed and a tiny demon corroding ant crawled out. This is... Black Panther was shocked. He did not expect the demon corroding ant to use such a method to preserve a glimmer of hope for his tribe. It used its own flesh and blood to nurture his tribesmen. Now, his tribesmen had been released. Although they were still in their infancy stage, They were not to be underestimated. "Children, stop him for me," the demon corroding ant ordered. Suddenly, a dense swarm of tiny demon corroding ants rushed over like a tidal wave. Fang Chen was speechless. He frantically displayed his invincible sword technique. Sword light crisscrossed and the sword chi was bone-chilling. Crack! One by one, the tiny demon corroding ants died under Fang Chen's sword. However, he was held back and could not leave for the time being. Boom! Black Panther went into a frenzy. He wanted to buy time for Fang Chen, but he was stopped by the demon corroding ant MPH. "When the Lord of the Ghost Manor arrives, you will definitely die." The demon corroding ant sneered. The battle in the mountain range spread throughout the entire Ghost Manor. Everyone's eyes fell on this direction at the same time. City Lord Manor, secret chamber. The Lord of the Ghost Manor suddenly opened his eyes. He sensed something and instantly saw the battle seen hundreds of millions of miles away. When he saw the demon corroding ant, a strange smile appeared on his face. He then got up and walked out of the secret chamber. "Pass down my order. All forces in the Ghost Manor's territory are to head to that mountain range and surround it." Following the Lord of the Ghost Manor's order, the entire Ghost Manor was shaken. "Champh, you killed the 3 heroes of the Ghost Manor. Today, I will let you die without a burial place." Just as the Lord of the Ghost Manor was about to leave, the void suddenly rippled and a void gate appeared. "What are you doing here?" the Lord of the Ghost Manor said coldly with a gloomy face. A hearty laugh came from the void gate. "Old ghost, after so many years, you still have such a bad temper. Can't I come to the Ghost Manor for no reason? I made it very clear back then. From now on, you are not to set foot in my Ghost Manor." The Lord of the Ghost Manor's attitude towards the newcomer was extremely bad. However, the newcomer didn't seem to care and said with a smile, "Back then, I advised you not to become the Lord of the Ghost Manor and not to get involved in the chess game of the great powers. But you told me that although you were a chess piece, you were confident that you could get rid of this sad identity. What about now? My matters are none of your business." The Lord of the Ghost Manor said. "The Ghost Manor isn't as simple as it seems on the surface. You should know better than me. Now that the demon corroding ant has appeared, you know what will happen next. As a friend of many years, I think it's not too late to dissuade you." A sigh came from the void gate. Back then, they were friends who had gone through life and death together. But when the Lord of the Ghost Manor chose a different path, they became strangers. There were many times when he felt pity for the Lord of the Ghost Manor, but the latter seemed determined to jump out of the cage. When the demon corroding ant appeared, the expert behind the void gate hurried over, hoping to dissuade the Lord of the Ghost Manor. But it was too late. "I said it before, my matters are none of your business. You don't have to pretend. The brotherhood between us has long been scattered with the wind. From now on, I am only the Lord of the Ghost Manor." The Lord of the Ghost Manor's cold voice came from the void gate. The latter didn't speak for a long time. A trace of sadness filled the air. Friends who had gone through life and death together had become strangers. Just what had the Lord of the Ghost Manor experienced in his heart? Perhaps only he knew the answer. "Do you really want to do this?" The expert behind the void gate was still somewhat reluctant to give up on the brotherhood of the past. He made a final effort, hoping to salvage the situation. Chapter 3792. The battle in the mountain range was still going on fiercely. Black Panther restrained the demon corroding ants so that they could not deal with Fang Chen. However, he was also restrained and could not help Fang Chen to escape. As a result, Fang Chen was now blocked by a dense swarm of small demon corroding ants. Although they could not harm him, they could delay him. Kill. Fang Chen held the Spirit Slayer sword in his hand and his eyes were bloodshot. Princess Huang, who was beside him, also displayed her ultimate skill. The two of them joined forces and any small demon corroding ants that approached them would die in their hands. However, the number of small demon corroding ants was too large and the two of them could not move an inch. Black Panther was very anxious, but there was nothing he could do. He could only watch as time passed by. "What should we do?" Princess Huang had an anxious look on her face. If they couldn't leave this place, Their lives would be in danger once the Ghost Manor Lord arrived. No matter what, they had to find a way to leave. Fang Chen frowned and gritted his teeth. He once again displayed the invincible sword technique. However, this time, along with the sword light, he fully activated the Vermilion Bird bloodline. The vast power of the bloodline spread out in the void. With him as the core, cracks appeared on the ground and blood spread out, instantly seeping into the ground. At this moment, the supreme power of the Vermilion Bird bloodline spread out. Not good. Seeing this scene, the demon corroding ants shouted and wanted to rush over to kill Fang Chen. However, they were stopped by Black Panther. You're courting death. The demon corroding ants' pair of antennae launched a frenzied counterattack and fought fiercely with Black Panther. Poochie. The small demon corroding ants were saved by the demon corroding ants at the risk of being severely injured. Then, it placed them in its body and nurtured them with its own flesh and blood. It only hoped that one day, when the time was right, it would release all of them and rebuild the demon corroding ant colony. However, these small demon corroding ants were still in the growth stage and had not recovered to their peak. Therefore, when they were suppressed by the Vermilion Bird bloodline, their bodies exploded. One by one, the small demon corroding ants fell into a pool of blood. This scene made the demon corroding ants who were fighting Black Panther grit their teeth. Wang. A terrifying bloodline pressure enveloped the heavens and earth. The densely packed small demonic corrosive ants all prostrated themselves on the ground. The weaker demonic corrosive ants were instantly killed, while the stronger ones were unable to withstand the bloodline pressure and instantly lost their ability to fight. Let's go. Fang Chen roared. Princess Huang, who was in shock, suddenly sobered up. The two of them flashed, instantly leaving the mountain range. Before he left, Fang Chen clenched his fist and unleashed a punch imbued with the blood of the Vermilion Bird. The earth quaked and the mountains shook as a terrifying shockwave exploded, sweeping across the land and forming a barrier in the void, blocking the small demon corroding ants. By the time peace was restored, the small demon corroding ants had suffered heavy casualties, but Fang Chen was nowhere to be found. The leader of the demon corroding ants scanned the mountain range and did not find Fang Chen's aura. It roared into the sky, venting all its anger on the Black Panther. Your entire race will perish because of your foolish actions, the demon corroding ant said in a frenzy. The Black Panther sneered. When it attacked, its entire race had already begun to move. Now that it was almost done, it was the only one left. Even if the Ghost Palace Lord came personally, he would not be able to stop it. In your dreams. The Black Panther sneered. Soon after, its body shrunk and turned into a Xiao Hei dot, disappearing from the world. Boom. 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 The demon corroding ants attacked crazily, piercing through the entire mountain range, but still could not find the Black Panther. Even its entire race had disappeared without a trace. Damn it. The demon corroding ants were enraged. Not only did they fail to kill Fang Chen, but they also suffered heavy casualties. For them, this was definitely the heaviest price to pay. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Not long after, a vast power rushed over. The demon corroding ants raised its head and saw a black figure in the void, approaching from afar. His body emitted a terrifying aura. Crash. When it landed on the ruins of the mountain range, its powerful divine sense spread out, searching for Fang Chen's traces, but to no avail. Where is he? The Ghost Manor Lord asked in a hoarse voice. He escaped. The demon corroding ants coldly said. There was such a huge commotion here. Why did you take so long to arrive? The demon corroding ants were somewhat angry. It had a secret agreement with the Ghost Manor Lord, which was why it did not hesitate to waste the opportunity to cultivate and directly awaken. It even used its trump card to try to keep Fang Chen here. Now that it had suffered such heavy losses, the Ghost Manor Lord had to bear the main responsibility. There was a problem, so I was delayed for a while. But with your strength, I really can't imagine how he escaped under your nose. The Ghost Manor Lord asked in a deep voice. Chimph, the cheetah race rebelled. The Black Panther tried to stop me, so I used my trump card. But that guy has the Vermilion Bird bloodline. When he released it, there was a supreme divine power suppressing it. Many of my people died, but he escaped in the end. The demon-corroding ants told the Ghost Manor Lord the whole story. The Ghost Manor Lord was silent for a long time, then looked up at the demon-corroding ants and said, "It's my fault this time. But I will definitely fulfill the conditions I promised you. I will go after that person. Wait for me here. When I return, I will open that place and send you in." Hearing this, the ferocious look on the demon-corroding ant's face gradually disappeared. Buzz! The Ghost Manor Lord's figure instantly disappeared. There was still 100 miles away from this mountain range before they could completely leave the Ghost Manor territory. In other words, the Ghost Manor Lord still had a great chance of stopping Fang Chen. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Outside the mountain range, Fang Chen and Princess Huang were in a sorry state. They were moving quickly. Suddenly, they felt a trembling aura coming from the mountain range. Their hearts trembled. Without asking, they knew that the Ghost Manor Lord had come personally. I wonder how the Black Panther is. Fang Chen suddenly thought of the Black Panther. If it were not for the latter, he would not have been able to escape the demon-corroding ant's clutches. Don't worry, the Black Panther will be fine. The Ghost Manor Lord is already here. Let's hurry up and leave. Otherwise, there will be trouble. Princess Huang said. She knew the Ghost Manor better than anyone else. The Ghost Manor was very strange. The Ghost Manor Lord could obtain an increase in speed and strength within the territory of the Ghost Manor. They were still 100 miles away from the Ghost Manor territory. If it was under normal circumstances, they would be able to reach there in the blink of an eye. But now, with the Ghost Manor Lord chasing after them, Princess Huang was very worried. You can't escape. Suddenly, a hoarse voice rang out from the void. Shortly after, Fang Chen and Princess Huang felt cracks spreading out from all directions on the ground. In an instant, the cracks had reached the feet of the two of them. At the same time, the void trembled, and dense ghost chi pervaded the air. The two were shocked, and their faces changed drastically. Chapter 3793. As long as they left the territory of the Ghost Manor, there would be many ways to escape. However, one step was an extravagant hope for Fang Chen and Princess Huang at this moment. Boom! A vast power swept across the heavens and earth, causing the void to distort. Above the firmament, a dark aura fell down like a waterfall from the 9 heavens. The Ghost Manor Lord had arrived personally. With just a thought, he blocked Fang Chen and Princess Huang's path, causing them to sink into a quagmire. Trying to escape. The Ghost Manor Lord was shrouded in a black mist, causing others to be unable to see his face. His voice was filled with determination, causing others to tremble. Not good. Princess Huang and Fang Chen exclaimed inwardly. They immediately struggled with all their might, trying to escape from the quagmire. What should we do? Princess Huang was anxious. At this point, it was impossible for them to escape safely. Fang Chen pondered for a moment, gritted his teeth and made a crazy decision. He turned to look at Princess Huang and said in a deep voice, "I will stop the Ghost Manor Lord. You go first." Although they might lose their lives if they stayed behind to stop the Ghost Manor Lord, it was better to die alone than both of them. Moreover, Fang Chen's strength was much stronger than Princess Huang's. There might be a chance for them to survive if he stayed behind. No. Princess Huang shook her head. However, Fang Chen took advantage of her unpreparedness and sent her flying with a slap. With the help of the powerful shockwave, Princess Huang's body shot out like a cannonball, leaving the range of the distorted space in a short while. Seeing this, the Ghost Manor Lord flicked his finger. A black light condensed into a terrifying spear, containing an ancient demonic chi, and shot towards Princess Huang. Break for me. At this moment, Fang Chen displayed his invincible swordsmanship. He waved his Spirit Slayer sword and streaks of sharp sword beams spread out in the sky. The sword beams crisscrossed and slashed fiercely on the black spear. Catcher. When the two collided, a deafening force burst out. The attack of 10,000 swords weakened the black spear, and the luster on its body dimmed a little. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Fang Chen swung his sword again, completely shattering the black spear. Seeing this, the Ghost Manor Lord sneered, "What a stupid guy." Although he was an invincible saint, as the Ghost Manor Lord, he could borrow the power of heaven and earth of the Ghost Manor territory. Hence, His combat strength was on par with a half-step chaotic supreme realm expert. In his eyes, a ninth-order saint was nothing more than an ant. Therefore, when he saw Fang Chen desperately trying to block the black spear, he found it funny. A person who was about to die actually had the courage to face him. In an instant, Princess Huang had already fled the territory of the Ghost Manor. The Ghost Manor Lord stretched out his hand as a black hole appeared in the air before him. He extended his hand into the black hole and swiftly reached out, grabbing towards Princess Huang. "You can't escape." The Ghost Manor Lord was very confident. Trying to escape from under his nose. Huang. However, when his large hand came into contact with Princess Huang, a strange scene occurred. A layer of strange halo suddenly appeared on the latter's body and actually blocked his large hand. Dong dong dong. Through the big hand, the Ghost Manor Lord felt an extremely dangerous aura. That aura made him tremble. "How is this possible?" the Ghost Manor Lord exclaimed. His eyes widened as he stared at the fleeing Princess Huang. A primitive tribe. In that instant earlier, he sensed the aura of a primitive race from Princess Huang. His gaze turned sharp as he lowered his head and stared at Fang Chen. What was going on? He could sense that Princess Huang wasn't a primitive tribe member, but she had the aura of a primitive tribe on her body. She should be related to the primitive tribe. Then, what about this young man in front of him? Was he also related to the primitive tribe? If that was the case, did their actions represent the primitive tribes? For a moment, many thoughts appeared in the Ghost Manor Lord's mind. Seeing that Princess Huang had safely retreated, Fang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. But his face was full of a bitter smile. The Ghost Manor Lord was too strong. He had no hope of escaping. It seems that her master left some defensive measures on her body. Fang Chen said. Boom. The Ghost Manor Lord didn't continue to pursue Princess Huang. He turned to glare at Fang Chen. The terrifying aura of an invincible saint spread out in an instant, causing the void to freeze. Back then, in the dragon-slaying cave, I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. The Ghost Manor Lord said coldly. Before the three heroes of the Ghost Manor died, his spiritual projection had descended into the dragon-slaying cave, wanting Fang Chen to let them go. However, the latter not only killed the three heroes of the Ghost Manor in front of him, but also destroyed his spiritual projection. At that time, the Ghost Manor Lord had said that he would kill Fang Chen one day. Who would have thought that Fang Chen would enter the territory of the Ghost Manor after escaping from the Flying Phoenix Palace with great difficulty? The Ghost Manor Lord's body was filled with a sinister aura. His every move seemed to affect the power of heaven and earth. Fang Chen was under great pressure, but he didn't give up. Even if there was only a slim chance of survival, he had to fight for it. Now, you dare to kill people in my Ghost Manor's territory. You've got guts. The Ghost Manor Lord said coldly. Are you ready to die? As soon as his voice fell, the Ghost Manor Lord swung his sleeve. The black spear condensed again. This time, its power was even stronger. It instantly shot towards Fang Chen. Kill. Fang Chen displayed his invincible sword art and activated his vermilion bird bloodline at the same time. Buzz. The aura of an ancient divine beast rippled out, instantly breaking the shackles of the surrounding void. The Ghost Manor Lord's face revealed a look of surprise. Vermilion bird bloodline? The Ghost Manor Lord smiled greedily. He licked his dry lips and formed a seal with his hands. I just happen to need a divine beast bloodline to cultivate. Outside the territory of the Ghost Manor, on a barren plain. Whoosh. Although her body was protected by a strange light, she still suffered a serious injury when the Ghost Manor Lord's hand touched her. Princess Huang sat on the ground, panting heavily. The scene just now was very thrilling. Fortunately, her master had left a backup plan on her. Whoosh. All of a sudden, ripples appeared in the void, and an indistinct old man appeared out of nowhere. Master! Princess Huang exclaimed. She didn't expect her master to come. At the same time, she also told her master about Fang Chen's situation and his identity. She thought that her master would come to rescue him. Disciple, I'm here to save you. The old man stroked his beard and smiled. As for him, this is his destiny and also his destined calamity. No one can interfere. His gaze pierced through the void and saw Fang Chen, who was fighting fiercely with the Ghost Manor Lord. A complicated expression appeared on his face as he sighed slightly. Chapter 3794. Fang Chen used the Vermilion Bird bloodline to temporarily block the Ghost Lord's first round of attacks, but this only aroused the Ghost Lord's greed. He just so happened to lack a divine beast bloodline to cultivate the Ghost Lord's supreme secret technique. His eyes were filled with greed when he saw the Vermilion Bird bloodline. Kill. The Ghost Lord's land was filled with a dark and bloody aura. This aura was a restriction to ordinary people, but to the Ghost Lord, it was a powerful boost. The Ghost Lord was different from other lords. They were very special. The Lord of the Ghost Manor was an enigmatic expert. Once, powerhouses from the 4 major branches came to visit the Ghost Lord, but due to some conflicts, the two ended up fighting. Although they were both invincible saints, the Ghost Manor's Lord had crushed him with unstoppable power and severely injured him. This battle directly established the Ghost Lord's reputation as an ultimate saint. Among the 4 major branches, there were ultimate saints who publicly invited the Ghost Lord to cultivate in the 4 great sacred grounds to comprehend the supreme abhina left behind by the demon devourer patriarch. Unfortunately, the Ghost Manor's Lord refused. An ultimate saint? Fang Chen's face was filled with a bitter smile. It was already very difficult for him to face an invincible saint. Now that he was facing the Lord of the Ghost Manor, who was already comparable to a pinnacle saint through various enhancements, he had no power to resist. Although the Vermilion Bird bloodline was strong, it couldn't help him block the Ghost Lord's attacks forever. It wouldn't be long before he was suppressed. I can't drag this out any longer. Fang Chen gritted his teeth and prepared to attack with all his strength to fight for a chance of survival. The perfect bloodline couldn't be exposed, or it would attract the attention of the demon devourer patriarch. At that time, he would have nowhere to hide. Vermilion Bird bloodline. Fang Chen activated his Vermilion Bird bloodline to suppress the Ghost Manor Lord's bloodline and impede his movements. At the same time, he executed an invincible sword art. The crisscrossing sword light, followed by the suppression of the Vermilion Bird bloodline, rushed over and wildly slashed the Ghost Lord's body, but it didn't cause any damage. An ant dares to compete with the bright moon? The Lord of the Ghost Manor broke free from the suppression of the Vermilion Bird bloodline and pressed his hands together, shattering the countless sword glows around him. He charged forward with unparalleled power and arrived above Fang Chen in the blink of an eye. Fang Chen stretched out his hand, and a strange vortex appeared in the center of his palm. Vast power crazily gathered around the vortex, and a strong suction force covered Fang Chen's entire body. Not good. Fang Chen shouted inwardly. He didn't expect to be imprisoned by the Ghost Manor's Lord. His heart was burning with anxiety. However, at that instant, a drop of blood deep inside his mind shuddered and unleashed a tremendous aura. It instantly broke the seal on him and twisted the space around him, trying to send him away. Seeing this, the Ghost Manor Lord exclaimed in surprise. He didn't expect Fang Chen to have such a trump card. You can't escape. The Ghost Manor Lord bellowed, his hand reaching out again. This is... Fang Chen's eyes widened. His heart was filled with astonishment. The drop of blood in his mind just now had helped him block the Ghost Manor Lord's attack. It was unbelievable. When did such a strange drop of blood appear in my mind? He recalled his cultivation experience, but he had never seen this special drop of blood. Dong. At that moment, his heart suddenly shuddered. The memory fragments gradually gathered, and the image of a copper bowl appeared in his mind. The copper bowl, he exclaimed. Back then, he saw an altar in the forbidden land of the North Sea. There were countless offerings on it, as if it was worshipping an ancient expert. He obtained the copper bowl from the altar. It wasn't until later that he learned that the altar was worshipping the legendary figure of the Chaos Realm, Supreme Fu Jian. When he reincarnated, a drop of blood from the copper bowl silently accompanied his primordial spirit to the origin world. All of this, Fang Chen was a little dazed. Did Supreme Fu Jian plan all of this? Did Supreme Fu Jian know? Otherwise, why would he trust him so much? Boom. The Ghost Manor Lord's attack became fiercer and fiercer. At this moment, He had the super battle strength of a peak saint, but he couldn't find any trace of Fang Chen. Rip! The blood shattered, spreading to his limbs and bones. At the same time, the void distorted, and a black hole appeared, instantly sucking Fang Chen's body in. Die! Before the black hole completely closed, the Ghost Manor Lord's fierce attack floated in. Dong! The black hole trembled. A terrifying strength drilled in from the entrance that hadn't yet closed. As for Fang Chen, who was floating within the black hole, he suffered the most serious injuries he had ever suffered. All of his bones were shattered and he was on the verge of falling apart. Fortunately, with the protection of the blood, he was able to quickly escape the Ghost Manor Lord's violent attack and disappear into the depths of the darkness. Rumble. The Ghost Manor Lord attacked the black hole several times in a row, and the void was shattered, but he couldn't find any trace of Fang Chen. How could this be? The Ghost Manor Lord stopped his attack, his anger soaring to the sky. He couldn't figure out how Fang Chen managed to escape. Could it be that he had the help of an expert? Outside the Ghost Manor's territory, Princess Huang stood nervously behind her master. She was very worried about Fang Chen's safety. Sure enough. Suddenly, the old man stroked his beard and laughed heartily, as expected of that person's means, really powerful. When he saw Fang Chen enter the black hole, he knew that it was that person's means. It also confirmed his guess. This was Fang Chen's fate, and also his calamity. If he could survive, he would become the most promising person to complete the mission of saving the Chaos Realm. Master, what's wrong? Princess Huang asked doubtfully. The Ghost Manor Lord couldn't kill him. He fell into the black hole's turbulence, but his injuries are very serious. If he wants to survive, it will require a miracle. The old man said. This. Princess Huang was shocked, but at the same time, she was relieved. In any case, Fang Chen didn't die in the hands of the Ghost Manor Lord. This was the best news. Master, she told her master about her experience in the soaring Phoenix mountain range, as well as the condition of Sky Dragon Supreme's heart. The latter nodded, continue to the Cliff of Death and complete the mission given by Sky Dragon Supreme. As for the rest, you don't need to worry about it, Master will handle it. At the same time, the old man reminded Princess Huang. The world is in chaos, and the darkest and bloodiest era is coming. When the time comes, it will be the peak battle between the two races. The Chaos Realm and the Origin World will fall into a state of fire and water. You must raise your cultivation as soon as possible. When the calamity comes, you must at least have the cultivation of an invincible saint to avoid it. If you can have the strength of an ultimate saint, you may have a chance to reach the Supremacy Realm.